Hello and welcome to the Friday Night Social, actually live in real life with real people, and we're not on Zoom. We're actually here in a pub in Brighton. So thank you very much to Mike Dix and also to Josh here.
Mainly
we both
to Josh.
live in Brighton and sorted all this shit out. So thank you so much. We are joined by Josh and Pranay. I'm Graham Hughes. Hello, and this is Mike Dix, and we've got Supertanskiii in the house. Woo! Do we want to talk about Brighton? Do we want to talk about what's been going on in the news? Do you want to say hello to people in the chat like Scott and Francis Winrow and Joanna Hammond? And listen, if you would like to join our beautiful friends in the chat there, all you need to do is hit that big juicy subscribe button and you can join the chat. Join the chat! So, what's been happening this week? We had the EU trade deal. Are we happy? Are you happy, Josh?
It's a start.
I mean, apparently we rejoined the EU.
We rejoined the EU this week.
That was nice.
It's all good.
Yeah, quite excited about that.
I'm quite excited about it as well. Are you excited about it, mate?
I think it's a massive betrayal.
But who is it betraying, Mike?
You know, us Leave voters.
All two of you.
It's probably time. It's probably a time I came out as a Leave voter on this channel, isn't it?
You've come to Brighton to
perfect
to
place
out
to come
yourself.
out as a Reformed supporter.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
So we also had our first Reform meeting, well, the council meeting in Durham for Refuck, and they were absolutely useless the whole way through. Whoever was talking, no matter where they were in the council chamber, someone next to them was whispering what to say.
Oh, God.
Really?
It was just so fucking cringe. Like, none of them had done the homework. None of them had, like, actually looked at what they were supposed to be doing. Sarah Davies is saying, "Hi everyone, can I get everyone's autographs, please?"
No problem.
Remind me tomorrow. Send me a text tomorrow, and I'll sort that out for you. Definitely.
Commit fraud.
Yeah, indeed. So it's been it was a long journey down. I was on a train full of Sunderland supporters, Mackhams, coming down for the game tomorrow when they're playing Sheffield, and it's going to take them into the Premier. Sorry, I'm talking about kickball.
Kickball.
You're going to have to explain what that means.
I know about kickable.
Well, it basically they're playing a game
Sunderland,
in
do they have a
Wembley
team?
Stadium.
In,
Yes,
in the
they
kickball
do.
championship.
In the
I think
kickball
people know
championship,
what
they have a team.
The World Kickball Championships.
Yeah, the World Kickball Championships, and they were on the way, and it was like all these burly, drunken football hooligans, and they were all singing ABBA all the way down.
Are you blowing in that?
Excuse me. I may be.
We've got Yuri in the chat. Thank you very much for the super chat, Yuri. That's very kind of you.
Love you,
I
Yuri.
shall be vicariously living my liver failure through you lot tonight. Welcome to the rest of your hangover.
I got to stress Guinness Zero.
Cheers, thanks very much. Cheers to that.
Cheers.
Josh, have you got a drink? Cheers. Cheers.
This is so weird doing this in real life.
Yeah.
It is a bit weird, isn't it? Because it feels like it's staged. Like, because we're all sitting, like, not facing each other. Like, we're sitting
Yeah, normally I can see you when you talk.
I also can't secretly like browse Twitter and stuff. You know.
and clearly be doing that.
You're like, hey, Tam, should we
Give me
say this
something
next?
interesting to
But
say.
I can like throw little
that's
things
true.
at you. But yeah.
I
nice
started
guy.
doing the politics stuff on YouTube as three blokes in a pub.
Yeah.
So, you know, we got four and a lady. So that's all right, almost.
You're not passing the Bechdel
But
test.
I paint. Yeah, I know. I painted myself into a corner by calling it that because most of the time we couldn't get three blokes and we couldn't get a pub. We tried our best. We tried our best.
It didn't do what it said on
No,
the
it didn't do
at
it.
all.
It was like, hello, it's two men in a cafe. Didn't have quite the same thing about it. No, but I think there was an article in the Daily Mash or, you know, one of the funny news article sites, and it was like, experts, no one listens to experts anymore, they just want to know what the man in the pub thinks about everything.
I don't.
And that
know.
was like 9 years ago that came, and it's like, it's so applicable now.
And we're finally living that dream.
Well,
We are the man in the pub.
With the men and
I like
Tan
being
in the
with
pub.
a lot of men in a pub though, so I'm happy.
One Angry Pagan, thank you very much for the super chat, mate. Trump has tried to stop all foreign students enrolling at, or
Harvard.
who are enrolled. They all have to leave Harvard. Now, there's been an injunction from a judge already to just stop this, but it's 27% of the entire student faculty. Like, what the hell? And
That like really fucks like me up, you know.
Yeah.
Can I swear?
Yeah, you can fucking swear.
Bit late
We
for
don't give a
that
shit about monetization.
Somebody's got to demonetize
Like,
us.
no, because it like really makes me quite angry because I like came like to the UK
Yeah.
as a like an international student, you know, and it's quite hard because like you have like to leave home and you have to pack up all your stuff and then move, and then you have to go through this pretty like in like tense course, right? Because you are doing it in a foreign country, you are like doing it in a foreign sort of way of teaching, and you have to excel at it because you know that like it has like cost a lot of money, and so you need to do even better than other people.
Yeah, so physics is hard enough as it is, but
Right.
doing physics as a second language.
Right,
It's like,
and in the US, the biggest majority of students are like Chinese, Indians, and people whose like culture is like really, really different to America.
Yeah.
And so they kind of move there, and they have to adapt like to this new culture, and like spend a lot of money doing it, and like not like all of them are rich, because quite a few, for example, I like took a loan to come here and pay and whatever, and like and so to kind of put their whole life in limbo because this like affects current students as well. So like people who are like 2 years into their 4-year degree, I mean, what are they like gonna do now? I mean, they have like paid like probably like $100,000 a year just in tuition fees, and then plus like living expenses, plus the cost of moving from one country to the other. I mean, the opportunity cost, and now it's all like in limbo, all like because this one man doesn't like this Harvard DEI or whatever his
the
bones are
reason
about.
is that it's because it goes against the two things that he hates. He hates intellectualism and he hates foreigners. So, it's two birds with one stone as far as he's concerned.
The other
I
side-
mean, it's mad.
He
the other
married
side
a
of that
foreigner.
is
and-
that in 4 years' time we might get an entirely different president who will then do something completely different, and then 4 years later it might flip again. So if you look at this over a multi-cycle thing, because of the unpredictability of it, people don't want to commit to any of it anyway now, right? So they're looking for places where they know they can be for 10 years, 15 years. And it's the same that happened here with Brexit, of course, as well, right? So, like, this idea that we have stable government is a complete nonsense and always was. But the fact is that when things flip around so much, you've got no consistency anymore. So
Do you think the threat in the UK is the same? Because arguably you could say if Trump is kicking out all of these foreign students, that we would be high on the list of the next place for those people.
But we
to
need to
go.
make the link
China.
between reform.
Yeah,
and
I mean,
She has already been on the internet going, "Hello, come to China."
Yeah,
But it's
yeah.
not
Yeah,
just
we
China.
should be hoovering them up.
Well,
we
they
should
are
be
going.
like,
They are going
Yeah,
to.
but
come to
I
Britain.
wonder with our politics following
Yeah, no,
American
I-
politics the way it does,
Well,
are we going to
reform is,
become
yeah.
unstable in 2028 and everybody will be
Possibly.
kicked out by reform or the Tories?
Yeah, I mean, I like think that there are a couple of things. There are certain risks for the UK. Like, for example, if like reform gets, I mean, I like don't like want to say it, but if they get into government by accident or by
accident.
well, I don't know,
We're fucked.
But like like we are
I'll
fucked
be campaigning for them, dude. I mean, come on.
We got
Oh,
a
I
super
hate you.
chat.
I
We got a
hate
super
you.
chat came in from one angry
Oh.
pagan. Mandavin fart monkey needs to sit on the naughty step. Just fair enough. And like honestly, I couldn't hate a human being more than I hate Trump. But then I think that, and I see Elon Musk, and I'm like, I just can't stand these rich dickheads who inherited their daddy's money. And they're just running. They just stopped growing up. Like their brains stopped evolving when they were like 11.
Yeah.
And they've got the mentality of an 11-year-old boy. They're like, oh, space rockets, dinosaurs, sharks, electricity.
yeah.
And they don't face any pushback at
No.
all. Like,
Yeah.
none at all.
This is a privilege thing, right?
Of course, like Tice kicking back against the policy that like Angela Rayner never even implemented.
Well, you're a
being-
big Star Wars fan.
No and/or spoilers. No and/or spoilers.
I've not watched it yet. No, I've not.
Andor was filmed, I think, bought in Canary Wharf.
It was?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Was
they filmed-
it?
Yeah, because
Tax
it's like very like futuristic.
No, because he wants it to
Also.
look like a brutalist, like imperialistic
Yeah,
horror
like
show.
it's kind
But
of
also-
like
It's all
cold.
filmed in Pinewood or Elstree. isn't it?
Rogue One was as well, though. So there's
really?
consistency
Yeah.
with.
Okay,
so
Anyway,
kept
so
the same.
do you know there's Star Wars Episode 1, which was the prequel, first of the prequels. It came out in 1999. There was a big hoo-ha about it. Because you had the original movies and then you had the prequels, right?
Okay.
It was fucking awful. And why it was awful was because the guy who invented Star Wars, nobody said no to him. He surrounded himself with yes people. And they went, yes, George, that's a great idea. Why don't we have a film about trade embargoes? Set in space.
It is my favourite. Wonderful movie.
This is my thing about Star Wars. They have meetings about the next scene. Basically, that's the entire film. Right? And then they have another meeting.
So true.
Yeah,
But you need
that's
the
Star Wars.
pushback. You need the constructive criticism. You need someone to just keep you in check. We've had
Like,
a
you
couple
can't
of
put the meetings in the script. Sorry, go on.
we've had a couple of super chats come in. In fact, we've had a mega chat come in. Thank you very much to Yuri.
Oh, yeah.
Trump is as much use as a knob flavoured lollipop in a nunnery, which I absolutely love. And we've got a
Where
mega
can we
chat
get
come
these
in
knob
from
flavours?
Ivan. Thank you very much. 50 quid. Thank you so
Ivan.
much. Fucking hell.
Thank you.
Ivan, for the drink fund. Thank you.
You can have a
a bottle of
cocktail.
wine.
Yeah, you can have a cocktail
I'll
time.
pay for
Only
the
one.
wine.
Thank you so much.
I'm having to drink
And
so much of that.
Pygmalion, we just got in a super chat from Pygmalion as well. Thank you very much
Thanks,
for
Sugar Tits.
£5. That's really kind of you. That is amazing. Thank you very much, Ivan. That was really, really generous. But yeah, we need people to challenge our ideas. And Musk and Trump and Boris Johnson, no one said no to them.
Yep.
They just
Yeah.
bubbled on, doing their own mad shit. And it's like, you don't know. You don't know what you don't know. And these people are so arrogant and so out of touch.
Yeah.
When you're rich, being stupid is low risk, though, right?
Yes.
Because it has no consequence.
Yeah, exactly.
So-
Being at your debt.
That's a nice way to put it.
Fake it till you make it, and these people have made it when they were born, so they just
Yeah.
continue just to think that
And
they're
everyone just
brilliant
nods
at
along.
everything.
It's
But
Emperor's New
former
Clothes.
anti-establishment. You know, they went to private school. They're
Yeah,
hedge
yeah.
fund managers, but they're anti-establishment.
They're so different from
Yeah.
the established parties,
They're
like
nothing
I don't know, the
like
Brexit Party, UK, BNP,
And he
National
was
Front.
talking about it being like, oh, sending the message that work doesn't pay if Rayner's suggestions went through. Like, what the fuck would he know about that? The guy has been minted since birth.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
it's like, oh, try telling NHS workers and student nurses that are kind of relying on food banks that work doesn't pay.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
the big one is
Dicks.
Trump not knowing what a trade deficit is.
Well,
Right.
like
He doesn't know
today
what
he
anything
like
is.
Yeah, but it's one of his biggest policies right now. And he's got no
well,
clue.
like today he like posted on like Truth Social
No,
that
don't.
like he has a deficit that like the US has a deficit with the European Union, and he said $250 million because
Yeah.
he didn't know that a billion has like 9 zeros.
But this is one of the.
so it's like ridiculous.
It's one of the key areas with all of this that when you're starting to talk about billions, trillions, etc., most people cannot comprehend the difference in those numbers.
They're all
You know,
the
the
same,
fact that
essentially.
it's a
yeah,
thousand.
I mean, once it goes beyond what most people see in their lifetime, it's like
I always think
incomprehensible.
I think it's quite telling when you look at our scandals with Keir Starmer last year for accepting
Our scandals.
2 pairs of glasses and a suit
UK
from
scandals.
somebody, and that gave them access to number 10.
I've never had a scandal with kids.
That's not what you were telling me earlier.
Let's
Anyway.
not talk about earlier.
No, okay, we're not allowed to mention that. But
chemistry
the,
is something. Yeah.
but the big issue is that those glasses and a suit add up in people's minds to the equivalent of a $400 billion jet.
Well, because you see, a £150 suit is more than because 4's smaller than 150.
Yeah.
£4 billion of PPE fraud.
Yeah.
Well, I
It's
mean,
a
this
smaller
is why-
number.
Yeah.
Right. So,
So-
like, this is why, right, that we have like scandals about concert tickets or
Yeah,
like
yeah.
stadium tickets.
They've
Yeah.
always
When
done
it's just
that.
a few hundred
that
quid,
hun-
right? I mean, fine, okay. I mean, it's in like a totally different league,
But
right?
I think quite
That
often
100 billion that we
it
lost
comes,
to Brexit, though. That's-
quite often it comes down to the
yeah.
things that are unaffordable to people. So if
Yeah.
you, as long as it hits a threshold of I can't get Taylor Swift tickets,
yeah.
all right, so that's already out of my league.
Right.
And therefore a jet from Qatar, I can't get that either.
I fucking love Taylor Swift tickets. I wish.
Yeah,
Would you,
mean,
would
but
you
like,
take the jet?
what
or the
was the,
Taylor
like, the
Swift
jet?
tickets?
I would
Scots
take
did-
nothing from Saudi Arabia.
I was so
I would
we
take
tried to
Taylor
get
Swift.
Taylor Swift tickets, and we found out afterwards that there was an accessibility line when she played in Anfield in Liverpool, and it was a phone number that we had to call.
Oh.
And as my partner's disability is, she's deaf. She can't use the phone to call up.
Why would they
to
have
get
access
I
to
don't
tickets on
know.
the
It's like
phone?
accessible tickets on the phone. You're like,
Mad.
It's
Gotta be-
2025.
Like they should be like the
I know.
easiest
We,
to
we,
obtain.
we
right?
found out about it too late anyway, so it would make no difference. But anyway, Yuri has dropped a super chat in. Thank you so much to Yuri. Tice the Temu Nick Faldo to buy Dick Heap.
I tell you what, like
Politician
Yuri,
like a
you
billionaire.
are hitting the old stand-up lines tonight. Aid would be proud of you. Booge for life.
Yeah.
This guy Yuri is actually. I think Yuri's the guy that's got Booge tattooed on his.
Yuri,
No
tell
way.
her.
That is awesome.
Yeah, chatting.
Ernie Burns says the problem is that money magnifies the insecurities of these people. They have really fragile egos because they know it isn't real.
Yeah.
They overcompensate. Yeah.
And that's the main thing, isn't it? They're essentially, they not only do they want to be rich or maintain their wealth, they also want to be popular or funny. They want people to think that they're geniuses at what they do.
Yeah, yeah.
Charming and charismatic. You can't buy that,
You
can
can't buy Riz, man.
No.
You can't buy Riz.
No.
Well, I think that this is one of the problems though with Trump and with Farage. People think that they are charismatic. With JD Vance, thank God, no one thinks he's charismatic. With that, who's a little gobshite over here? Richard Tyson, JD Vance. That's it. So Tyson Vance, like the second in commands of these of Trump and Farage, they're not charismatic at all.
No.
When Tyson was in charge of the Brexit Party or whatever it's called these days,
It was nothing.
It was nowhere. It was going absolutely nowhere.
Yeah.
And now it's like second in the it's top of the polls.
Are you
The
saying
Tories
he
are
didn't
in
do all the
fourth.
groundwork?
But they're still pushing Tice out because Farage is on fucking holiday in France, isn't he?
Yeah.
While they're-
First through the gates.
Well, they're exactly.
First
It was a
through the
great
gates.
line. Whoever wrote that for
he's
Keir.
rejoined the EU immediately. But he always has. He's such an obvious con man.
Yes.
When he was MEP, he barely turned up. He allegedly, reportedly, definitely sent his money to his mistress. Our taxpayers' money.
Yeah.
And his wife.
And
his wife.
Hugh Fearnley-Whittingstall did more for fisheries. And suddenly, did you notice this week how everyone suddenly became an expert on fishing? Automatically overnight. Like, we know everything about fishing. You fucking don't.
Interesting fact, in the year of Brexit, and this, I think this may or may not be true anymore because of Brexit, of course, but in the year of Brexit, the gaming industry in the UK made more money than the fishing industry. And not only that,
Of course it did,
one game made more money
Grand
than the
Theft
year.
Auto.
Yeah,
GTA 5?
but not only that, one game, Grand Theft Auto, on launch weekend made more money than the entire...
Isn't Grand Theft
entire
Auto just a
fishing.
Was
Tory
it like
policy?
£1 billion? Yeah.
So, like, we're ignoring our future as well, right? And
Yeah.
that
No,
doesn't
it's
mean
not about
that doesn't mean
economics, right?
this doesn't mean we shouldn't protect.
But it's
people
not
that are
about
working in these
economics.
industries.
Yeah,
The
it's
thing
just-
about the
No,
fishing
But we shouldn't destroy our
story.
entire country.
just a
for our
political-
fishing.
No, it's an emotional thing, and that's
Right,
the thing
yeah,
about
yeah.
the right wing is that they play on emotional strings. So
Yeah.
the idea of Captain Birdseye being in trouble all of a sudden is what they're selling to everybody at the moment, and they say we should be proud of this. We had small boats, we did Dunkirk, etc. You can't beat that.
Do you remember when Captain Birdseye was a massive nonce? Because he was like an old man with a white beard, and he used
With
to
a ship full of
ship
kids.
full of kids.
Like,
Yeah.
like a reverse Santa.
And then he had to have like a redux of it in the 90s. So like, this is a bit.
It's
you
like the
know,
granddad in Rosie and Jim. Come on to my canal boat.
brings a whole new meaning to tugboat, doesn't it?
We've got another mega chat by the way.
See, like, these are the...
Oh, okay. We got a super
Yuri,
chat from
we've got
Yuri.
Yuri.
Thank you very much. Who says Tan is not wrong about the tattoo, but Yuri's written book.
It's supposed to be boo.
I think it's gonna be boosh.
How many letters?
I think Yuri's had a drink. Thank you very much, Yuri. That's very kind of you.
Thank you.
And then we've got Alan Jackson there, £2 super chat. DFS thinks Vance is
Oh, because he's
charismatic.
a couch shagger.
He's a filthy
Couch
cat
shagger.
shagger.
Yeah.
Thanks very much for that. And then another, wow, 50 quid. Thank you so much to Anuksha. Thank you.
Anushka.
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 Thank you. Get around in on me, you great people.
Graham, you're getting my next
Oh.
Shanzerman
Thank you
Spritz.
so much, Anushka. That's
Thank
really
you.
kind of you. Thank you.
you.
Really appreciate that.
Can we go back to what you were saying about, people don't understand the difference between, like, for example, like an amount that they can comprehend and some crazy amount. So I was just, because I'm a numbers guy and they just constantly run in my head like all the time.
Yeah.
So like if like Taylor Swift tickets, let's say were 400 quid,
Yeah.
right? And Trump's plane
400 million.
Yeah, 400
400
million,
million.
right? So that would pay for like 1 million Taylor Swift
Yeah.
tickets,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Like 1 million.
Yeah.
And like every like stadium concert she does probably has what? 50,000 people ish, right?
Yeah.
So that means what? 20. Thank you. We have
Maths
this audience.
guy.
Sorry, I have
Real-time
alcohol,
maths.
so I'm
Real-time
slightly
maths.
slower. Yeah, but like 20 stadium full of tickets
Yeah.
given to Trump on just one plane, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so that's the difference. You are comparing 1:1, I don't know, like 1 million. It's mad.
It's impossible. And when you get to trillions, like the US defense budget now is $2 trillion in this new sort of wonder bill that they're trying to squeeze through. And people hear millions and billions and trillions, and they've got no concept of the thousands.
Yeah,
I don't. I find it almost impossible to think about the difference.
One of the best ways I found is, there's this YouTube video or like a tweet or an Instagram post or something that goes around that says that if you earn like $1 a minute, then you would have to go back like so many thousands of years before you had even close to what Elon makes in a day.
Yeah.
So,
but I still don't think they compute.
And that's how crazy it is.
And I don't think we'll get around that. Like, you could argue that we should do better education, that billions and trillions should be understood by people. But arguably, it's the emotional thing that's the biggest thing. Yeah. You can throw away a load of numbers and say, for fishermen, and people suddenly believe in that thing.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think it really helps if you can visualise it, and that's what's not done enough.
Yeah. I was going to say, I think they'll
sound very similar.
I think there's probably some value. Maybe we can build something that helps us do this, right? In typing in amount of money, right, or 2 amounts of money, and then picking an object or a thing in your life that can equate those two things. And an obvious one would be rent, right? So you could say something like, this 100 million is 20 years of your rent. This 100 billion is 20,000 years of your rent. And people might then get it right.
But the trouble is you end up with these big numbers again.
Yeah,
20,000 years is a difficult thing for people
20 years versus 20,000 years. That's quite. You can.
The one I used for Brexit, because we lost £1 trillion worth of assets. So if you've got £50 notes and stack them on the ground, one on top of another, for $1 million it'd be 6'6", so a tall man or woman. And then for $1 billion it would be twice the height of the Burj Khalifa, the tallest building in the world. £1 trillion in £50 notes. In just a stack like that will be 5 times higher than the International Space Station. Yeah, that is just...
Graham, there is a solution to this, which I think we've discussed before.
Burn the money.
Burn them.
Push the International Space Station further away.
No, kill all the men? Which of our solutions are we...
Calm down.
No. But like, let's listen to that.
Graham, we've discussed it, okay? Yeah. People get to the point of being a billionaire.
Yeah.
They get their little handshake.
Well done, you've won. They get a certificate.
And then out comes Luigi.
Oh, God. Yeah.
Bye.
And then we share all their wealth amongst the people.
Redistribute
the happy people.
Have you seen the advert for Temu where it's shop like a billionaire?
No. Oh my God. What? It makes so much sense.
No. Temu's theme tune, jingle, is shop like a billionaire. There's a bunch of happy people buying handbags and things, dancing, and going shop like a billionaire. And you think, seriously, do you think billionaires are on fucking Temu?
Yeah.
But they are exploiting people like Temu.
No, it's the ability to buy lots of stuff for no money. And feel like...
Well, I get what they're selling to people. But they're probably not on Temu. They're probably on like some other crazy app that we don't know about.
We got a super chat in from Peter Core, our friend from the National Rejoin March.
Oh, I love Peter Core.
I love Peter. Yeah. Have a drink on me. Maybe one of you if you're down south. Maybe one if you're down south. Please tell everyone. I need everyone at the National Rejoin March number 4 on the 18th of October 2025. Thank you. Love you all, Peter.
Love you, Peter.
Thank you. Love you, Peter. Yeah,
Thank
National
you.
Rejoin March. I shall be there. I don't know if I'm going to be speaking, but I will definitely be there.
You did a brilliant job.
Well, I live in London, so I have to be there. So.
I got into trouble because I didn't speak long enough. I just got off the stage.
Your speech was fucking epic. It went viral.
Did he talk?
Did
People
it?
were sharing it,
Oh, fantastic. That's good.
Yeah.
Why haven't I seen this?
I don't know.
I was like, that's
You should share this like
Not on the viral network.
If I sent you a video of me, you'd be like, oh, piss off, Graham.
Another one.
Get over yourself.
Call yourself a tech bro.
Me being awesome.
Really cool.
But yeah, no, that was... I want to do that again. And the thing is, when we... Just to go back to what we were talking about the EU at the top of the show, like, every step we take now back towards the EU is a step back to rejoining. Yeah. And it is going to take a long time because we need to get people on side.
We need to
It's all very well saying, Labour should do this and Lib Dem should do this and the Greens should do this. It's up to the people. And as more and more young people come online, and hopefully in the next election, 16-year-olds will be allowed to vote.
Yeah.
And that'll be very interesting.
Yeah, but that only works if Labour stops alienating its core
Well,
base.
yes,
but
yes, please stop doing
It's
that,
a bit
Labour.
like Whiplash at the moment.
There's only
This
one
week
group
they've done a reasonable job of
so
making us
weird.
go, oh, all right,
It's like
that's okay.
The
what
other
you've done."
week, he was tweeting like Tommy Robinson stroke twat GPT about immigration. This week, realigning with the EU, and then all of a sudden, chemical castration.
Oh.
What are you doing?
Yeah, but winter fuel.
It's all over.
I'm going to do a U-turn.
It's so weird, man. It's so weird.
The chemical castration thing, that's quite an interesting...
It is voluntary. Like, it's not like
no,
they're
but they're
saying,
talking about making it mandatory.
So
fucking hell.
So people get their sentences like slightly
Reduced,
if
yeah.
I mean, if they
opt
have
for-
committed the crime, I don't care what happens, to be
Yeah,
honest.
but
with
it
you,
is
really.
like against people's human rights, surely. I mean, it's
Yeah,
like,
but it's people's human rights
it's like-
not to be attacked
I
by a
would
penal.
say-
No, I know, but like,
I would say that
it makes me like really.
It's a bit weird, yeah, I don't
I'm
feel
But do
good
you
about
think
it.
that people should have a right to fancy kids?
Well, it's not their
What,
fault
as opposed
always,
to the
though, is it?
non-fancy
I mean,
kid?
that's
No,
Yeah, exactly. I mean,
no.
They don't choose it.
To
do
Well,
they?
say it's a
if they
right
can
is
stop-
wrong.
If
Like,
they
totally.
if they can
No,
stop
of course
that,
not.
if they
The
can stop that,
Netherlands
they can
has-
stop the ability to act on that.
The Netherlands
But I
has
think
progressive
that-
policy on this.
Right.
more
So you
progressive policy
right.
on this,
So
yeah.
you could have like for example, Norway has got like psychological programs, you
Yeah.
know, that like help people get back into society and figure out how they should fit in if they have those urges. So I guess I don't know.
so you
what
also have to
the
look at the
Okay,
fact
so
that
it's a physical thing being done to somebody, right? Which is very much what we can criticise countries like Saudi Arabia for doing. Yeah, so like cutting hands off and
Right,
stuff like that, right?
yeah.
And
Right.
so
and we used to do this. You know,
Yeah.
Alan Turing was chemically castrated voluntarily to
Right.
keep himself out
Yeah.
of jail,
Um,
and his crime was he
Can I get
loved
some wine as
he
well?
was in love with a man. You know?
Yeah.
We are being
have you? So you know, there's a person in the American.
Thank
I
you,
want to
darling.
call it the health department, but it's not really that anymore, is it?
Thank you.
Who else?
Unhealth.
Is anyone
Yeah,
else?
who's
This
like
is the
running-
result of your Superchats coming in.
Yeah,
Yeah,
thank
yeah,
you.
yeah,
We got a
yeah.
bottle of wine.
We've got, just off
Work
camera,
hard.
we've got Martini, which is Josh's better half.
So I'm going to get all the
Pouring the
Martinis
names
from
the
Martini.
names of this wrong, but there's
I'm good,
basically
thank
someone
you.
who's been put in
I don't
charge
drink red.
of like dealing with autism in America,
I might try a
right?
little taste, actually.
And they have a history of chemically castrating
Do I have to
teenagers
sniff it in
who are
front of you?
autistic, and they're essentially being put in the position now where they
Thank
could do
you,
that
my
to
love.
every single person who is autistic in America. You know,
Yes.
so these are horrific things.
Yeah, I mean the way that they
to the
go
wine
against
I'm not a big fan
that
of
whole thing
red
about
bread.
autistic people can't live a normal life and they'll never fall in love, they'll never get married.
It's like, well, you could fucking design society to be accommodating of that,
They'll
couldn't
never
you?
get to be
rather,
cool.
rather
Like,
than just put them in a
yeah.
cage.
See,
Yeah.
I mean, what like flipped my view on this, or rather like fortified my view, not flipped rather, is that
Wow, that's good.
Norway's recidivism,
Thank you.
as in
Thank you,
reoffending
darling.
rates, are lower because they believe in people, because they give them the space to figure out what a normal life should be.
Yeah.
So that help, and the way that I mean, you can argue that Norway has a low population and all that, but they have got like all the things that the right
and a lot
argues,
of
you know.
money.
The Netherlands
Well,
is
yeah,
way more
government.
progressive.
Sure, but they have a higher sort of the migrant population within, so they have got a 18% migrant like a foreign-born population. Sorry,
Yeah,
compared to the UK, which I think has 15. So I mean those those arguments from the right don't hold in that.
Before we go on, we've got loads of super chats. Sorry, I'm going to go through them all. Chris C, thank you so much for the super chat. The least integrated part of British society isn't the immigrant, it's the elite.
Absolutely.
A small contribution to the drink fund. Chris C,
Thank
you're
you.
absolutely
Thank
spot on. They do not mix with the rest of us.
No.
Because I'm one of the immigrants and I'm mixing.
I was
here.
going to say you were one of the elite. I was going to say, what?
Yes.
You land a survivor.
We did.
Well, I'm having wine.
We
so-
did invite some rich people, and they
Yeah.
refused to come.
They did,
Yeah.
and they refused to give us
And
weed.
they're now in a cage. They're actually in a cage just out of
Bastards.
shot, actually. Not talking about you, Adam.
We need to help. We need to
I
help
just ask,
integrate
can I
into
just ask?
society by paying their
Right,
taxes.
I'm not saying this about everyone, hashtag not all rich people. But like some of the rich people I know are like tight as fuck. They're like
Yeah.
the tightest people, you never get around
That's
them.
how they're rich.
Exactly, that's how they
No,
are.
but seriously,
No.
you don't stay rich by spending all your money.
You
That's
spend
the
other
point.
people's
The
money,
irony
that's the
is,
point.
not spending your money means being rich is pointless.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. So I think.
Right?
But you get
Think
rich
about
people,
that
they'll buy
one.
you a
Well,
drink
answer that.
and they'll go, can I get a receipt with that? And you think, oh, this is on expenses. Okay.
So
I see.
Did I just win? I think I just won.
You
You've
do
won the
win.
internet.
Hail Mega
If
Drive.
you're not going to spend your money, what's the point in being rich? So you're basically not rich. So give it all away.
Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
you
Like
just-
fucking give it to us.
Give us the
Well, we need to
champagne.
crack
Give us
them
your
open
fucking
and see what
money,
it comes
like
out.
Bob would say.
People are giving
This
us
is-
this.
Ivan's giving us
Ivan.
money.
Get-
Ivan,
So
we-
I shall get back to your point.
Ivan.
I have some points about that as well. So I was
No,
going to say, the
I have
thing
to
about...
argue with you on this.
Guys, we've got a
Okay,
super chat.
Ivan, thank you.
Ivan.
We need a Disabled People's March. For those who can get out, disabled people are going nowhere.
16 million voters.
Fingers up to the disability cuts.
Yeah. 100%. And sorry for talking
Absolutely.
over that, but 16 million people in Britain are disabled.
Yeah.
That's more than any party has received in votes,
Yeah.
ever.
And
pretty
how
much,
many
right?
people is it roughly in millions that don't vote? It's like 30 odd
In
million.
this election, 19.
So,
Fucking
so
hell.
tonight
And
is
in Trump's election,
What is 30?
30, no,
40%?
50 something, wasn't it?
which
Yeah.
could have spun things.
Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah.
So-
So Trump only got about 30% of the vote, Graham.
so tonight is the opening, the Friday night opening, the Friday night weekend opening of Mission Impossible: Dead Reckoning.
Yeah.
Oh, nice.
This is a huge movie. It is on thousands of screens across the country. Potentially 18,000 screens in the whole
We have
country.
18,000 screens?
Yeah, if you add them all together. But I mean, you know, the same film's not on all of them. Tan, you know the mic is like there, and you're like having conversations off. When you're quite done,
The sound effects department.
clump, clump, clump. Anyway, so how many of those screens do you think are showing subtitle screenings tonight?
For the launch, I'm going to be like less than 1%.
One, yeah.
1% is too high.
Yeah, because it's normally they do that things at
1%
like
would
awkward
be like
times,
180.
I reckon
No.
3
Yeah.
screens.
Yeah, like 20.
One.
One
Oh,
screen.
Reigate Cinema
I
tonight
was
Wow.
had a screening at 7:30, and that was it. All the rest of the screenings with subtitles that were on today were on during the daytime, so you couldn't go to them if you're working full time.
Yeah.
Tossers.
And
Oh,
I'm told that
Oh, Martini!
in
What you can't see is Josh's lovely lady,
look,
Martini, off camera,
super chats mean we can even
Peanuts.
bringing in...
Thank you, people.
Thank
If
you.
anyone's got misophonia,
This
you're
is
gonna
literally
lose
putting
out.
50
Oh,
pig in
Thank
there.
you, darling.
I'm told
Salt
that.
and vinegar.
You're still drinking this sauce, right?
Oh, no,
Thank you.
No,
Graham,
I'm done. That's just
Yeah.
the ice water.
You've
So.
got to do it at the pub.
Whatever.
I'm fairly certain people don't want to hear the crisp.
I had all that.
This is going to be crisp effects the whole
And you
time.
were
Like,
moaning
yeah.
at me
Quick,
for drinking
can
a
we-
bit of these spritz.
I am.
Do some ASMR politics. Yeah.
Like Darth Vader.
can I do the rest of the super chats and then we'll get to
Yeah,
what
yeah,
I
Alright,
want to say?
okay.
Okay.
Yuri, thank you so much, Yuri, for the super chat and Ninfectionov. I've drunk so much of the barrel, I found Reform's manifesto at the bottom.
They've
I
got
like
a manifesto.
And Dark 4x4, Graham, congrats on making it to Brighton. But we don't need another hero. All we want is what's beyond Thunderdome. Lol. Thank you very much, the Tina Turner reference. We always
We don't
appreciate
need
that
another
on this channel. So I hope I've not missed any super chats, but yeah. So the discrimination, the open discrimination by Labour towards people who are in need of PIP allowance. A lot of people on PIP are working. It's not even like, you know, oh, they're just sitting on the house not doing anything. They're working, and the PIP allows them to work. It gives them the adjustments, the reasonable adjustments they need in their life to be able to do that job.
And the same applies to universal credit. An enormous amount of people on universal credit because they're having to take state subsidies.
Yes.
Because their employers who are not taxed enough
Yeah.
are not paying them enough, so the welfare state has to come in and top that up.
Yeah.
And then people are kicking back against, corporations paying more tax. What, so you'd rather that those people were like subsidised by the state? Fucking sort it out. It's insane.
Yeah.
But
got-
you know what we should do? We should encourage all these AI companies to come and open up here.
Oh yeah, that'll
Right?
help.
'Cause- right.
No one will know what's real.
Yeah,
Brilliant.
well, no, the point is AI is going to take all our jobs, right? Or a lot of them anyway. So let's give them loads of tax breaks to come and do that in this country and be operating here. Right, so let's give them
Nothing
tax
can
breaks.
go wrong with this plan.
Yeah, but at the same time, please don't sit on your ass all day. Go get a fucking job.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, but like any of us in about 15 seconds can work out the contradiction in that.
Yeah.
Like it's in the same sentence.
Thank you, Tom.
You know? But they've got these two disconnected policies where they're basically saying, no, we're going to... And not only that, it's in their fucking headline, isn't it? And it isn't for every party. We're here for working people. We're going to support working people. What about all the other people? What about the fact that you're supporting putting people out of work? Right? I mean, there's no systems thinking to it.
Should we have a conversation about this? Because I think it's really interesting. What jobs are going to go? because of AI.
So the tech bros want all of them to go.
I know they do, but
But the point is they will
No,
try.
but
just
but
before
like,
before we go into this, we got Reverend Kathy. Thank you very much, Reverend Kathy, for the £5 super chat. Here's some fucking money. Just a little. Being rich isn't just having money. You have to feel rich enough to spend. Stroke, give it away.
Thanks,
Yeah,
Kathy.
absolutely.
Thank you.
We're keeping it.
So
Though.
what specific jobs are going to be lost as a result of AI?
Well, so I work as an engineer, so like as a computer engineer, yeah.
Yeah.
And what I find really absurd is that technologists are trying to develop AI in the parts of life that make us human.
Creativity.
Yeah, like they are basically automating or creating AI to create better art, to create better videos.
They can't create art like a human though, because the fundamental
of course
of creating
not,
art.
but like
You can't
is
make
being
money
horny.
off art if no one's
No,
buying it.
no,
being-
but
Because
like,
no one's got any
being
money to buy the art.
Being horny is the fundamental start of all creative process.
Expand on this theory.
And AI cannot. I can't expand. It's obvious.
I agree with you, but I'm trying.
I love the way you're so serious on this. I'm just like,
Yeah.
wow.
So
yeah,
AI is
yeah.
going to
Because
put a
I
lot of
feel
muses
deeply
out
about
of
it
work,
because
basically.
I'm in that.
Absolutely, I love a muse.
Well, like because I'm in that same working space, I kind of feel a bit more passionately about it in terms of I can understand why they are doing it, and I think it's wrong because they think of the world in ones and zeros, right? And so for them, they feel like they can create. They think of art as some sort of like algorithm, right? That you can create X and Y,
It
and
makes
so
me
you
so
can
angry,
create this
Pranay.
thing. And so that's why we are getting videos and music and like
shite.
images and paintings
But it's
and
shite.
cartoons. Of course it's shite.
Yeah.
But people won't know the difference. See?
Precisely.
That's the problem. No
And
one's
they
gonna know what's real.
can, right, and they can, create a fake video of a politician doing something, and they can put a caption on it, and
Yeah.
this
But
is
the
the
thing-
reality
can I-
we're gonna have in 2029.
Yeah, but there is
right? And
there's an
28.
issue. I think one of the things is that AI currently is very good at this. Right, it's one of the things that they've found that it can do,
Yeah.
and it's one of the things that people can do themselves to use it. So people go, if you look at your Facebook feed or whatever any given day, there is a new meme of somebody's photo being squirted through AI, and then everybody does it. It was action toys the other week and baby pictures of you
Yeah,
this week,
and it
they're
was
turning
like
into videos.
Studio Ghibli and yeah.
All right, so the problem really, having gone through a few generations of technology and creativity in my life, everybody will try and do it,
So much crisps.
and a number of people will just be shit at it. They'll do a meme, they'll do a birthday invite,
Yeah,
whatever,
I think
right?
people will get fatigued
But
of it, Yeah.
But the other side of that is the creativity of the artists themselves. So I'm torn on this because I look at those tools and I think, I've got a project coming up that needs an animation. I can create the basis of an animation. I could flog myself to death for weeks doing renders to make an animation work for me because I don't have the skills on certain pieces of software. Or I could use
This is
AI to
very
help me do that. And I've started experimenting with that, and I'm feeling like this is a tool that does a job for me that's better. Now, does it take an animator's work away from them? No, because all it does is actually make it easier for me to create the thing I'd have
You
spent
wouldn't
6
be able
weeks
to
making.
You are
afford an
right in a way.
animator anyway.
Yeah.
No, so I think you are right in a way. But I think that once you get into it and you figure out that this AI is going to improve exponentially, that's where the risk comes. So right now, it's great enough to assist you in your work. Yeah. But 1 year from now, 2 years from now, it's going to be way, way better.
Yeah.
It is.
And so will I.
Can I make an
going-
argument against that? Right. So
Right.
way better assumes that's what's needed. Right.
Yeah.
Because at
No,
the
no,
moment,
but that's what they're building, not what.
doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. And let me finish.
Uh-huh.
Right. So we assume that we need these things to be equivalent to us. Right. Actually, what's needed is for them to be good enough to do the basic job that is needed by the billionaires.
Yeah.
Right. So what job do the billionaires still think we can do? It's essentially nothing. Right. Because what they're thinking about is what jobs need to exist to enable society to continue in the model that they are thinking about.
Yeah.
Not what we are thinking about.
Yeah.
Right. So that's why they're going for everything, and even the ones that they won't be good at, it won't matter because it will be good enough for them.
But it's not just that, it bypasses creativity, because you can actually get them. Like a friend of mine, I was pretty angry with them because they were getting videos to be created in the style of like Jonathan Pye or other content creators.
But who's paying for
I'm
it?
gonna laugh
But no, but the point
because you said to him, "Oi, stop using this fucking AI, you knobhead," and he wrote this big thing to you saying
Oh my
like,
God.
"I'm so sorry."
Right, Jules?
And it was so clearly written on
Written
AI.
by AI,
And you were like, "Was that AI?" And he's like, "No."
It was because it was so
So the
scary.
apology for using AI came from
He
AI.
wrote the apology with. Sorry, if you're watching, man, I'm so sorry. But
You have to give the little context.
But
to
the thing
people.
is, like,
But-
a lot of us came up from nothing, painstakingly wrote all of our own context. Not only did he fucking rob, like, our style, but then apologised. It's so bad.
But I at the moment
It was so
where I am
bad.
at the moment, I'm in a place where it is really fucking handy, not just for helping me with doing the blurb for this shit, but I'll give you an example. This
Verbs
week,
are fine, but like entire.
This week I've been adapting one of my screenplays into a 10-part TV series because I think it works better as a TV series. So I'm working on episode 1. It's set in 1735, and there's a scene where in what's now Haiti. It wasn't Haiti at the time. What's now Haiti? 1735. Yeah.
Wow.
And
back.
I can just type in, what would someone be wearing in Haiti in 1735?
Yeah.
And it comes up with it. And honestly, about 90% of writing this damn thing was just doing research to make sure I didn't say, oh, they shoot a gun. Oh, well, that didn't exist for another 100
It
years.
helps
I don't know.
research, yeah.
Have they got socks? I don't know.
But-
So having that on one side of the screen and my script that I'm writing myself, if I try and get it to write dialogue, oh my God, it's awful. Like,
Okay,
it
so
is
there's a few massive assumptions going
dreadful.
on here, right? First thing is that people will pay for the output of that.
Yep.
Right? And the second thing is that AI won't just learn from where everyone's creating and go and do it for you instead, usurping you entirely. And that's the point about this. It's not about being assistive, right? It's about going, oh, I can create slop for everything. And it doesn't really matter because I don't need to make loads of money from it anymore because what's money about anyway? Right? No, seriously, like when you've got all the money, you don't need to make any more money, do you?
Well,
Right.
a billionaire.
If AI can help...
And secondly, there isn't anything else left anymore. So this is the baseline.
But if AI can help
Right.
Pixar make 2 movies a year instead of 1 movie
No, but
a
it will,
year,
no, that's
No,
not the
but-
point. Pixar won't exist.
But
I
Right.
can't see that.
No,
But,
Netflix.
like,
It's
Can
so
I-
stupid.
Okay,
No,
so
no,
how
no.
long? 10 years?
It's
AI
I mean,
is
listen,
100
looking
years?
at, looking at Google,
How long?
Google VO this
We're
week,
making some
which
big
I've been
assumptions that
investigating.
human
It's
creativity
fine.
is valuable to billionaires.
Google VO can definitely make Pixar movies, right? Definitely.
yeah.
If you've got enough money to
Easily.
pay for
No,
the
it
subscription.
does-
So a startup
So
can
VO
now
was
become
launched
Pixar
like 2 days
for
ago.
no money.
So-
Yeah, and
So Pixar's done.
no, but hang on.
And the reason it's done,
Josh,
is because
there-
none of us will have
Josh-
any money left to go to the
Josh,
movies.
hang on a minute. There is a difference, right? And you're
No,
right.
there isn't.
No, there is because
Oh,
there is
so
still a
much
business.
passion.
There is still a business model in this, right? The
For who?
art business, the cinema business, they're
Yeah.
all businesses, right?
Popcorn
And yes, you can
business.
turn out
Are they?
shit, but if you put a Pixar movie out,
Yeah.
I guarantee you, in the last 20 years, there has always been 10 knockoff Chinese titles that are almost exactly the same, available on DVD the day before the Pixar movie comes out, right? There's porn versions of it. There's fan fiction stuff of it. They're not making as much money as Pixar out of that, right? The business
long?
model is still going to
But
last.
how long?
Well,
Because
The
we're just
question is-
talking about the inevitable.
the question is to what extent. Graham is right. Does it make Pixar's life
Titanic.
easier? It does make Pixar's life easier,
You
definitely.
make Tan
For
run away
now.
with Tan.
Tan don't go.
It makes Pixar's life easier
Tan
now.
don't go.
It makes Pixar's life easier now, but they're training the AI.
Yeah, I
to
know.
do
Just
certain-
one second. Can I just drop in 1 second because we've got we've got a mega chat in as well. Thank you very much to Paula Thomas. This came in a while ago, so sorry, thank you for your patience, Paula. Thank you for waiting. Graham, your partner should look into the disabled person's rail card. She will qualify, and if you're travelling with her, you get the 30% discount to apply to both your tickets. She did have a disabled person's rail card, but you got to pay for it, so she doesn't have one at the moment because we don't use the trains enough to make it worthwhile. But if we do go along that route, yeah, I think we will. Actually, no, I think she got another one actually recently. But yeah, you're right. It does give you a chunk off your train tickets, but train tickets in this country are just too fucking expensive anyway. You
Yep.
know.
Oh, we all took trains today. We know.
10
Yeah,
times,
yeah.
10 times,
Everyone took a train to get in.
No, I
10
walk.
times per
Oh,
kilometer.
you
Oh,
walk.
you
You're in
legend!
Brighton.
You
10
legend!
times per kilometer than the European average, by the way.
What train?
Yeah,
train
that's
fare.
how much the trains cost.
Yeah.
Kevin, thank you so much, mate. That's really generous. Thank you for the 50 quid. I hoped that covers that covered around. For AI in art, I'm thinking of Orwell's books and pornography for the proles. But double plus good news, Choco Ration is going up. Thank you very much. That's really kind of you. Thank you. And Questionable Absanity in there with the £5 super chat. Is the aim of automation to relieve people of the toil of work so we can explore ideas and learn skills? The very things that billionaires seem to lack. I love
The
that.
progressive
Questionable.
version, absolutely, but it depends who owns the AI, right?
Yes.
And that's the point.
Yes.
Right, so billionaires
Who
are
is
owning
driving
the
it?
AI right now, and no one else does. And so the point is, we are heading towards Mad Max, not Star Trek. I mean, that literally is just.
And this comes into it.
And this is why I keep
But
asking
I'm
how
with
long.
Mike. I'm with Mike. I'm not ganging up on you, but
No,
like
you gang up.
you can make a shit knockoff
Come on.
of anything.
But
And
can
I
you
think
flog it?
Aid
But
gets
that's
very
such
vexed
a-
that people will watch a video and go, "Oh my god, I think that's real."
that's such a
But I think we've all
short-term
been primed
way
to
of thinking
think
about
that
it.
it's not real
No, I
because
Josh, I
It's
don't
quite
think it is.
weird that-
You and I have been in the
Okay.
digital world for about
Yeah.
as long as each other, right?
Yeah.
And I've seen, and you've seen, cycles of code. So, just as an example,
not in a
right?
cycle.
My art is digital art. I use software to make my art, right? And I'm sneered upon by the art community, right? Now, that's been the way. Oh,
Yeah.
you're not really an artist, a computer's doing it, right? Now we are entering a world where a computer can do it all by itself. It just needs a good prompt, and there's still a big skill in writing prompts for these things. You can write terrible prompts for AI at the moment.
Prompts are skillful now, but they will go away in a few years.
Yeah, probably.
as AI
Yeah,
develops.
probably.
Yeah.
But here's
long?
I'll throw you another hang up on this, right? Is that now it's hitting the creative industries. Yes, of course, we're all cross and angry about it. But did we give a shit when all the people that used to work on tills in the co-op and Sainsbury's were sacked because we
Yes.
started doing the work direct?
Yes, we did.
I know
think
we
quite a few
did,
people are.
but did society?
No, but
I
this is what
can
I'm
see
saying.
the benefit.
Billionaires are picking which jobs get to exist.
Yes.
And that's exactly the point. So,
Yeah,
okay,
no,
here's the
it-
fundamental thing
You
about
know we
capitalism.
agree. It sounds like we're arguing
Here's-
everybody.
no,
but
we're
not.
arguing about the short-term
No,
need to
we
be
are talking about
fearful of
nuance.
it.
I think
Right,
this
the-
is
I
fairly
agree
nuanced.
with
We
that.
are all on the same side,
The-
but it's nuanced.
The fundamental thing
So-
that every business is trying to do is reduce its costs, right? And the biggest costs traditionally are property,
And people.
product, and people,
Yeah.
right? And if you can have less of all of those things, that's absolutely your number one priority.
Yeah.
Right, and so what they are absolutely doing is trying to come for every single job because
Yeah.
they don't want property anymore. What's the point in being on the high street? They don't need to do that anymore, right? Product
well,
is
they seem
essentially
to
free.
have a big problem with working from home, don't they?
Yeah, but they just won't have people working. That's the
because
point.
they have
No, but listen,
got
we-
commercial
Right.
property.
That's
that-
going to ruin all the
What would it
all the
ruin?
landlords in the city of London who are whinging
Yeah,
about
Yeah,
everyone
but
working
this
from
does
home.
not affect the
Canary
billionaires
Wharf, for
doing it. That's the point. They don't care about the chaos
Now
that it
listen,
creates.
this is where we agree completely, right? I think the issue is about
So obvious.
the issue is about who runs, owns, and controls the infrastructure that allows this
Yeah,
stuff
who
to
is
be
it?
used. Arguably, there are some useful tools in AI. There definitely are. It is computers getting to a point where they are becoming incredibly useful, like they're living up to the promises of what we believed when we watched Star Trek as a kid. Right, they're starting to do things, and if we use them well, they can. And if there's equal access to them, and if the money isn't all being
that
pissed
if is
into
doing a
some,
lot of heavy lifting.
if the money isn't all being pissed into Elon Musk's and Zuckerberg's pockets, basically, with no rights over that, with no ability for us to express anything other than we give up our data and the robber barons take it from us in San Francisco.
Yeah.
So the opportunity, which won't be grasped, I do believe there's a potential threat. But if we're just talking about artists not being able to knock
We're
out
not.
pictures, those the artists that make a lot of money in this country employ 20 or 30 people to make their art. It's always been the case.
And there's what,
Leonardo
100
da
of them?
Vinci had a complete studio of interns who paid him, their rich parents paid him to let people work in his studio, do most of the paintings, and he'd turn up and sign it at the end, basically. That's the way it's worked. Andy Warhol exposed all of this in the 60s. AI is about to expose art and challenge artists to be real artists all of a sudden, because it is very easy to go
how
and look
those-
at art and
how
knock it
those-
off.
Before we go on,
Yeah.
Charles Stanhope, sorry, I missed your super chat. Thank you so much. The limitations of AI is it has to work on existing data and has no original ideas. And I completely agree, my friend. That is why I think that it will always be limited and why humans will always do better shit. And that all AI is ever going to be is a shit knockoff of an original. And I think I see it as a tool. I see it as a going to computers, going into the internet, it can be used for good or evil, but I do not believe that it will replace.
But there is an argument that there's no such
cartoons.
thing as an original idea. And the internet, when the internet came along,
I'm not really talking about that. I'm talking about the financial viability of it.
Yeah, but old enough to have seen the World Wide Web created in 1997 and be involved in it. And what happened was that you could come up with an idea and suddenly you could start searching on the internet to see if anyone else had had that idea, which you couldn't do before. It was almost impossible. You only had patent law or copyright law to file through a library. Then you could go in and go, all right, somebody's already had that idea. I'll do another idea. Right now we're getting to a point where, there won't be any original ideas created by AI because AI is doing that work as well. It's running around the whole of whatever databases it's accessing and going, well, here's an idea that sounds a bit similar to the thing you've just asked for, so I'll throw that at you.
Who's paying for all this though? Because the thing is, right, the people that are making money off memes, right, rely on an algorithm, and the algorithms are owned by the same people who own the AIs.
Well, the value of memes goes down once everybody
right,
can make
but Charlie
them.
Bit My Finger, right, made them a lot of money.
Yeah.
Didn't it 15 years ago? Yeah. Or
15 years ago, yeah.
Silver
Right.
service waitress.
So things do change.
But the guy that sold every pixel on a web page in 1998 basically made £1 million.
Yeah, we know Alex. Yeah, he's doing very well now on something completely different.
Was of its time. It would never happen again.
But
Right?
so
We're going to go through a phase.
How do artists make money in 10 years' time?
I don't know. We'll find something.
That's the problem.
But when photography came out, all the portrait painters thought they were going to be out of jobs. Is it
If
possible?
you go and ask Sam Altman that, he'll have an answer.
Are you still talking about AI?
Sam Altman's answer
He's
is
just going to go, we'll work it out. You know,
Sam
nice
Altman's
people
answer
will
is
do
going to be
good
the
things.
same as Steve Jobs was, the same as Microsoft.
So if
just
you
dismiss-
had the money,
You can't dismiss
Josh,
all
if
of-
you had the
yeah.
money, if you had, let's say, £50,000 to spend,
Yeah.
and you wanted a portrait of yourself,
Yeah.
riding battle cart,
Yeah.
six-pack, holding the World Cup,
Leather pants.
leather pants, chaps, right? Would you spend that money on an AI generated slop to go, oh, they just make that, or would you pay an artist to actually sit in front of you while you're there in your toga or whatever it is with your legs up, right, to actually paint it, and you can watch them paint it, and then when people come to your house, they'll go, oh my god, that's really
It's
nice,
a
and you'll
story
say,
about the artist.
and you
So-
can tell a story about the artist.
So there's two things here. First thing is I would absolutely get an AI to do it for free right now, and then every year it would improve, and I'd pay them a little bit more.
But
and it
how
would
does
probably
it improve?
let me finish. Right, so that's the first answer to that question, is that it will get better and better, and it'll be equivalent cost, and also with inflation, the cost will probably balance out and be the same, right? And the water and energy, blah blah blah.
Define better.
It's not the way art
As in
works.
better than it
That's
previously
not the
was.
way art works.
It's not the way art works.
No.
But that's not really what we're talking about. So the other side of that question is, would I pay 50 grand for it? And what you're basically admitting to there is that art is a billionaire project, right? That only rich people get to be part of.
That's
and
not true either.
It massively is true.
How-
The only people
yeah.
who can afford to be artists
No, you're-
nowadays
you're-
are
that-
people that are like
I don't have a
fucking
portrait
Tories.
of myself in my house because I can't
Because
afford
you're
it.
not
no,
rich.
but I'm talking
Then you
about,
can't
like,
spend 50 grand on a
I'm
portrait
talking
of
about
yourself.
music, etc. Like,
I didn't
and
want it.
visual art. Like the people that can afford to do it are Tories or people that can master AI.
Yeah, but all right.
How does an artist...
I'm an
So
artist.
look,
in
I'm-
10 years' time, how does an artist
I'm
survive?
only trying to put a
And the answer
counter-argument
can't
here.
just be,
I have
well, we're
got
working
when-
out.
When
amazing
photography was
portfolio.
invented,
Yeah.
the National Portrait Institute got
Yeah.
really fucked off with it and wanted it banned.
We're not just in a cycle, the world's falling apart, Mike.
That's bullshit.
And
It's
no,
just
not.
bullshit.
Then what are we doing here?
Right, here's my argument, Josh. Right, if you want a picture of, aren't you democratising the art process? You're saying it's a billionaire's job at the moment. If you genuinely do, if you're egotistical enough to want an oil painting of yourself in your living room, you can get one. AI can create it for you. You take a
Egotistical is
picture
not
of
the
yourself
word.
and it will be
It's have
created.
the money
In
to,
the
is
past,
the-
it was
is the
only
word.
the elites that could do that,
Yeah.
and now you can do it on your computer.
I can't
because
get an
it's
oil
just
painting
like
off my computer. I can't.
AI should have no part in art.
take it to a printer and it'll print it, and it'll cost you a
It should
tenner.
have-
Money is so important in this equation.
A
Right?
tenner.
So again,
I
going
can
back to
print
what I was
you this
originally
canvas for
going back to what I was-
£15.
Can I
Going
talk
back to what
about
I was
my
on-
portfolio of ginger celebrities that I've made with my pubes?
When AI's taken all our jobs, no
My
one's buying
pubes
anything
and
anymore.
Brit
is the point.
stick.
I own 2 of them.
Oh, no.
This is how I'm going to make money because you're staying
you
at
want-
mine tonight. I'm
the
just going to
channel-
sweep up your
The
pubes.
Mick Hucknall one is a thing of fucking beauty, I've got to say.
Which jobs would exist in 10 years' time that still make enough money to go and buy an oil painting?
AI engineer.
to buy an actual oil painting from an artist.
But even AI engineers are being replaced, right? Because that's just coding essentially. Yeah.
But Josh, I still see jobs advertised paying 40 grand a year to do PowerPoint.
We're all fucked.
Yeah.
I mean, 35 years after the software
Bring on
was
UBI.
invented, those jobs exist.
Yeah, but those boomers ain't ever gonna learn PowerPoint. I'm sorry, it's not gonna
They
happen.
don't even know that like a Facebook meme that tells you that Christmas is being banned by Muslims isn't real. So how the fuck are they going to determine?
I can make a PowerPoint that could make a PowerPoint.
We've got
in 5
a
years'
couple of
time.
super
That's the
chats
point.
come in. Dark 4x4, thank you very much. Graham, please stop looking so sad. I don't think I look sad. Do I look sad? Do I look sad to you?
Be happy, be happy.
You've more than earned a drink. Enjoy, please. Thank you.
Sorry.
Thank you, Dark 4x4.
Sorry, Josh.
And we had cheers, and we also had Darian the Star. Thank you so much. The thing to bear in mind is that AI will never be as bad as it is right now. In 5 years' time, it will be
It already is.
unrecognizable.
Have you seen those videos?
This guy is right. I agree with
Yeah.
that. Yeah,
And we're not
totally.
gonna know
I mean,
what's-
and it's not just 5 years. It's like 12 months, 24
And
months.
can we note how dangerous it is specifically for women? Because they're going to
Yes.
weaponise it against us sexually. And they already have. Look at what they did with the kind of crap ones with Taylor
Explain.
Swift.
Tell me more about this.
But there's a massive problem with deepfakes.
Yes. right.
And they are deepfaking. There was a Channel 4 news presenter who
Oh, yeah.
had deepfake sex tapes of her. And they do it to silence and dehumanise and, make women
Well, there are-
hide and not have a voice. And this is going to get massively worse.
Yep.
So there are like, I don't know, but I'm guessing there are probably like thousands of sites where you can go and upload a photo and you can create a deep fake from that photo.
Yeah.
Right? So
I don't dare to look because I've already had pictures from my actual social media uploaded onto FAP sites where people will just like sexualize your workout videos and your selfies that you upload. And they do it specifically in an attempt to kind of like silence and dehumanize you and reduce you to just wank fodder, essentially.
Yeah, yeah.
And it's especially common with women, especially women in politics.
Absolutely.
Because they know that the thing that will
Women-
discredit you will be them using you as a sexual object, even though it doesn't, because it wouldn't be there unless men were there to try
It's
and enjoy
kind
it.
of more a way to enforce their supposed power over you, right? Like,
Of course, it's a power play, like any form of sexual crime is.
Yeah.
but
I've got a
it's-
couple of super chats that have come in. First of all, Paula Thomas. But art has always had rich patrons financing it.
Just
thank
look at
you.
all the indie artists and the Mercury artists.
It's very true. And Brenner over in the States, hi Brenner, over in
Brenner!
California, says Tan's drink is getting low, $10
she just got a refill. She
got a
walked
refill.
away.
Not anymore.
But Tan, to go on to what you're saying there, so we can have the argument of like whether it's a good
Yeah.
thing or a bad thing. I think it's somewhere in between, and we can argue about that. But what the fuck should the government do? What I would like to see is if there is a AI video, it has to be watermarked AI by law. And if you don't put that AI watermark on, the AI company that made it can be fined by the government.
Yeah.
I think that's a very good idea, but then that should also apply to things like ultra photoshopped images because
Yeah.
of the body image issues that people are facing.
Yeah.
But they're not going to because they're not standing up to the tech
Well,
companies and they're not.
Someone might not have
taking-
pointed this out to them.
No,
Maybe
no,
it's our job. Maybe this is what we should do.
They should know. I mean, for fuck's
Oh,
sake,
they
they're
don't.
still
They're
running.
idiots.
They're still
Have you
running
spoken to
on.
anyone?
No,
We'll
hang on.
work it out. We'll work it out. Don't worry.
If I
It's all
could
good.
finish the point,
Sorry.
like in Carton, stop interrupting, you bloody man. The problem is that like Labour are running on like in Carter 95 floppy disk era. Like the ship has sailed in terms of taking action against tech companies. But at least if they try to implement some form of regulation rather than the online harms bill, which is all a load of bullshit, it's not going to do anything. What we need is proper legislation. Not just in terms of deepfakes, but in terms of media like regulation, because it's the new era of media.
I have a proposal.
Go for it.
It's an indecent proposal.
You were right on the crotch there. man.
Yeah, like
I
over
didn't
me.
touch his
Wow,
knob.
over
That wasn't
Pranay.
indecent.
Pranay,
Hey,
Pranay.
I'm just
It was
I'm
just-
sorry you had to witness
It was just a
that.
bit of inner thigh, that's all.
Go, Josh.
A progressive.
Sorry, Martini.
Sorry.
And thank you, Adam, also for the spritz. So just off cam, we've got some people there.
Yeah.
That's going to mean nothing to the viewers. Sorry,
Sorry,
carry
go on, Josh.
Josh, please.
A progressive corporation tax, where your tax goes up the fewer people you employ.
What?
Explain.
Your tax goes up the fewer people you employ.
Yeah.
So if
That's
you
gonna
fire
fuck out
people,
these
your tax
startups.
goes up.
Yes.
So you're forced to keep people on your.
So if your business model is basically own the world without employing anyone,
How do you
it becomes
benchmark it?
incredibly expensive.
How do you benchmark
Compared
it?
to every other business, you ratio it out.
I don't think we'll ever
What
get
if
to
they
the
all
point.
go down?
Yeah, good.
Josh, I don't think
No.
we're ever going to get to the point where AI can actually police itself. I think you're always going to need humans
won't.
That wasn't part of my
in the
proposal.
equation to say that's bollocks.
Some of the richest companies on the planet employ the fewest people, right, and pay the same taxes. You know, right? And if we were taxing those people who are putting people out of work, if we were taxing those companies who are putting people out of work, then we could use that tax to support all the people that are out of work.
But you're essentially,
And that's how tax works.
It's kind of it's kind of an argument for universal basic income.
Yeah.
isn't it?
Yeah.
Dodoy! I mean, so this is the thing about us all
Which
owning
I
it.
totally
We
agree
get to own by proxy through taxation. If they want to fucking own everything,
Yeah, I agree.
then we owe them through
I
taxation.
agree. The one thing I want to say about the watermark thing that
Now you can touch me.
Graham brought up, which is
I'm so sorry. I feel like such a predator.
He doesn't like it when there's enthusiastic consent. That's the
Sorry,
problem
Mike,
with
I interrupted you. Go on.
no. But watching Google I/O
Go on.
this week, which was
That's right.
incredibly interesting set of
Google I/O was-
presentations.
So Google
it's Google
I/O was
making
this
all the
conference
announcements
2 days ago.
Yeah, about their upcoming products. And one of the things they introduced alongside VO and various audio products that AI and educational projects for the use of AI was digital watermarking for AI content, which included a database at the back end where once the watermark is there, you can actually interrogate exactly how that thing was created.
Yeah.
With the thinking that GPT
That's
was
what we
doing.
need.
That's what we need.
Now, I would argue that the only reason Google introduced that this week is they are already getting scared about regulation.
Yeah.
Because this is the way it
Good.
worked with the World Wide Web. The ISPs all had to come out and start coming up with ideas early to protect children online, to protect women online. They came up with some shit, like self-monitoring systems. But the fact that they were doing it is that they knew they were going to get litigated against very soon and take responsibility.
Yeah.
And I think we need to make the AI companies, just like we haven't even done this yet, and we should have done this ages ago, is make the social media companies responsible for what they're actually putting on their platforms.
Yes.
Or letting on their platforms. And we should make the AI companies responsible for that transparency at the very least. It should be insisted upon that we know how these things were
The
made.
social media platforms have always argued that they are not publishers and so they're not responsible.
Yeah.
However, their algorithms choosing what you see makes them publishers.
I agree. I think
Because they
that's
are
the
doing
way.
editorial,
Yeah.
essentially.
Well,
right? So
that's
that is a
what
publishing
Australia and
process.
Canada have, right? Because they have essentially Facebook has essentially stopped news in the feeds of Canadians and Australians, as far as I know. Sorry if I'm wrong, but at least in one of those countries or in both, I think they have blocked it because those countries' laws treats Facebook as a publisher.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so they could not accept the legal they could not accept the legal liability that comes with that, and so they chose to not publish news anymore.
Yeah. Yeah.
This
But
goes back
like-
to Al Gore and the information superhighway.
Yeah.
He was sold this idea that the publishers, that they were not publishers, so that they were exempt from the law.
Originally, they weren't.
It's a 40-year-old law.
Well,
now,
when it began,
really,
yes.
so-
But like to go back to your AI sort of watermarking, one of the risks, and it's a current risk, is that most of these deepfake sites don't use Google's AI, don't use
No, it should
Meta's
be-
AI. They use kind of like they use essentially use essentially open source AI.
Yeah.
And like China's AI, like DeepSeek, for example, has proved to be almost as good as the frontier models.
Yeah.
And it's going to become better over time.
But you don't
So-
let them self-regulate. The mistake we've made in the past is letting them self-regulate. Like
We did that with the papers.
We did it with the press.
Yeah.
The only one we've never
you
done it with
can't-
is broadcasting. And we did that in 1936. So it's long overdue for us to re-look at the publishing industry and say, okay, you are responsible for the money that you're making, and you're responsible for the content that you're putting out. Yeah. You don't let Google come up with their own watermark. You don't let Microsoft and everyone else do it. There is a global standard.
I would argue,
European Union. That's what it's good at, right?
But it should be global. It should be a world.
I would argue that the way around to do this is not that you watermark things that are AI produced, but that you watermark things that are verifiably human produced. And you should assume that everything is AI produced. Because most things will be AI produced. And so it's more valuable to know this was made by a human.
So at what point do you actually break that down? Because Photoshop getting involved?
We're one step away
There are
from
algorithms in Photoshop, there have been for 50 years, that make photos look better.
We're one step away from
Do we
people...
not have this thing that from I think 1944 or whatever, prior to that, all the steel produced in the world was kind of non-radioactive, so it's kind of more valuable. And so it's the same with AI, from, I don't know, 2019
from
or
this
whatever.
date forward.
Yeah, from this date forward.
It's not just learning off AI. Sorry, Tam, what were you
No,
going to say?
you can foresee what's going to happen, because people like Angela Rayner, for example, has been subjected to immense misogyny. We're one step away from them creating videos of her in sexual situations that are going to go super viral, and that's going to, sadly, not impact the people that create it, but impact her as a politician. Yeah. Because of the inherent
it's going
misogyny.
to affect people psychologically,
It
surely.
massively does already with women,
Surely.
because we're taught to hate ourselves from the age of as soon as we can see magazines. So, but it's not just that; it's the way that they're using the kind of sexualization of women as a weapon, and that's going to be not just in politics. It's going to be broadly, but it's going to especially affect politics. So.
Yeah.
But that's where digital transparency on this watermarking would help, because it gives you a place to start saying, who do I take to court over this?
We
who
need
do I stop?
legislation
Who have you stolen this from?
Yeah.
To go back
Well, you've
to
stolen the actual image of a person. I mean, this is the problem. We need to have proper legislation in place to prosecute people.
I think that is ridiculous
revenge
that if
porn.
someone else takes a picture of you and you don't want them to take a picture of you, they own the copyright on that picture.
Yeah, absolutely.
And you're seeing these celebrities being taken to court for using a picture that a paparazzi has taken of them on their Instagram.
For example,
on their Instagram.
Because Narinder Kaur was essentially revenge porned by Lawrence Fox, who's facing sex crimes. Charges, for what is essentially a sex crime.
Oh shit!
Because he used it
Live on
as a.
you have your t-shirt.
Sorry, mate.
He used it as a way to humiliate and dehumanise her for criticising him. Are we sweeping away from the?
Sorry.
I was trying to be professional.
We
Carry
had
on.
an accident
Joss
here.
is a
Sorry.
I was trying to be
Sorry.
calm and carry on. There's a tissue
I saw your mic
more
was.
worried about
I
my
saw the mic
wine.
was a bit low on you, and I wanted people to hear what you were saying.
We need a tissue there.
That is not going to cut it. That was a lot of wine.
That was a long one.
Was it?
Should I show the camera?
Are you okay?
No, it's good that
He looks like he's had a very, very nasty
I
accident.
was trying to
like,
carry.
direct
Are you
to me,
okay, man? Have you got a lot going on down there?
I mean,
I don't mean it in that way.
that's what she said.
That's just the
That's
rumour.
what she said.
Could we get some tissues?
Let's get a deep fake on that.
It's alright, tissues. It's fine. Don't worry. It's not going to help.
we are.
Oh,
we are
thank
getting
you,
to the
Adam.
issues.
Thank
Look
you.
at
We've got a
It's
man
not
on
gonna- it's
camera.
not gonna-
So bad now.
Oh,
Because
okay.
it's
Off camera.
We have to carry on. guys.
How
carry
can we
on,
not go
No,
on?
as I was saying, Narinder Kaur was essentially revenge porned by Lawrence Fox, and she was already the subject of a sex crime by being upskirted by a scumbag paparazzi. And he was using that specifically to silence her.
Yeah.
And not just, I think that the motivation could possibly be the fact that she's a woman of colour. He doesn't like the fact that she's got a voice, that she's calling him out. And this is the very problem that we're going to be facing, is people using that as a way to silence people. Because if I was to say, have an argument with one of the dickhead right-wingers, they could come back with a video of me performing a deep fake video of me doing something grotesque, and that's designed to kind of wield power and humiliate and shut up
So
women.
we need legislation.
Yeah, but the problem is, how will I don't really have much faith in the institutionally misogynistic police force to enforce it.
No.
This is the problem.
But we don't even have the legislation.
We don't have the legislation, and also we have a police force that, you know, takes pictures of dead, murdered women and laughs about it in WhatsApps, that have like rapey WhatsApps. And this is not just one police force like the Met. This is like a national problem. And the problem is misogyny, homophobia and racism is a rot in every institution in our country. So until you sort out that fundamental problem, you know, AI is just a dip in the fucking ocean compared to that, because everything's going to be judged under that parameter.
Yeah.
So, anyway, nice to bring the mood down for a moment. But this is the honest problem that people are facing. Like,
Josh, just hold that thought for a moment, because we got a couple of super chats.
So I'm going to find the source.
are you okay? You look like you're covered in blood right now.
It looks like he's had a run-in with him.
He's been shot.
Why are you guys doing that?
a
Can we
Randy
pass the bottle
vampire.
of wine, Dan?
Oh
Yeah,
God! Oh
can we-
God!
can we get
let's-
some-
let's
some more?
compound this problem.
Because
Quincy,
Not near the computer.
No, I'm pouring it. I'm perfect.
It's okay,
No,
it's okay, it's
I
okay,
was a
it's
silver
fine. I know,
service
I'm just-
waitress.
It's fine, it's just a computer.
Thank you.
Tilt it, please, darling.
Okay, chill this.
Quincy
Oh, there's
says,
nothing left.
I always said Friday Night Social was like meeting your mates in the pub, and now you've done it. So thanks very much to Quincy for that super chat. It is, I just threw a load of wine all over
Tilt it, please, then.
We
lovely Josh's crotch.
No, I was a silver service waitress, so I know how to twist it when
twist it,
required.
baby.
I wasn't a silver service client, so I don't know
Anyone
how to
else? Can I
tilt
top up any
And
billions?
Anna's saying, I don't think Graham looks sad. I think he looks slightly tipsy.
All I was going to say was this is not a quote, so don't sue me. But I've got, I think Julia Hartley Brewer
Haley Brewer.
essentially
Heartless
told
Brewer.
Miranda to grow up
This is
in
yours.
response to that.
What
That's
a
not
horror
mine,
show.
that's
I
Right.
can't remember the exact quote, so
would you-
you know,
What an absolute
not a
horror.
quote, but basically it was like, just laugh it off.
Pete's
my
music on the
She's
AI
such
thing.
a pick me.
Pete's music saying, as an ex-semi-pro musician, I think AI is an abomination, but
shit.
I realise the masses will
I'm over here.
gradually fall for it. Karaoke killed my band when pubs introduced it, and BGT is popular but shit.
I fucking love karaoke though.
Yeah.
Honestly,
Do you know
get
what?
me doing a
Do you know what
Lizzo
fuck
track.
bands?
Karaoke is
Do you know what
amazing.
fuck bands? DJs.
Well, you know, there's an argument against that. But,
I'm
you
gonna
know.
do I'm gonna do
Just
So when
saying.
photography started,
Yes.
you see,
I can tell you all about the origins of photography.
when-
That was my degree. People call it a bullshit degree, but it was.
I much
my
prefer a wedding with a live band. When I was in Liverpool in the 2000s,
You're a purist, darling.
I set up a thing called Punkaroke, and it was karaoke with a real live band, and
I
it was
fucking love
fucking
that.
amazing.
My friends
But
call that
didn't-
bandioke.
Okay,
Bandioke,
but-
we got
so,
the Punkaroke.
seriously, let's think about this one, right? So let's say the DJ killed the live band, right? Which I don't think is necessarily true. However,
Video killed the radio star.
Ever.
all right. However, clearly for things like that, where you would go and directly pay a live band to perform their service
Yeah.
at a wedding, right? It is much cheaper to get a DJ, and you're going to get an entirely different experience because you can essentially hit repeat on Spotify, so you don't even need a DJ, do you? You know, just
Nope.
make a playlist, right? So this is how this progresses. And of course, what has happened in the music industry is that the bands that are making money from being bands are fewer and fewer and fewer, and doing it by doing live stuff, right? So that is, and they're doing that at very, very expensive prices as well, right? So how much is it to go and see like expensive music artists now? It's a lot more than it used to be, and not
Used
just
to be a
because of inflation.
fiver.
Yeah, right. So
That's
that is
because
becoming
people are
a rich
capitalising.
person's thing again. Yeah.
Yeah,
and
we're
that's-
being forced out of everything.
Well, the thing is,
Yeah.
tours used to be to sell the album. Now albums are to sell the tour.
and albums are essentially free, right? Because they
Yeah.
go on Spotify for nothing,
And the guy who owns
so-
Spotify, he gets a lot of money out of it.
and funds Trump.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Questionable absanity. Thank you very much for the super chat. Performance art will always exist and be underpaid, from buskers, magicians, and street art to circus performers. People love to watch amazing. Absolutely
And it
questionable
was,
absanity.
and it
Thank
was
you.
ever thus.
But it was
I- I
ever
was
thus. Eric Satie, for example,
Same as it ever was.
was broke, and he was
Same
one of
as it ever
he's
was.
my favourite pianist of all time. He was one of the old French bohemians. He was exceedingly bitter, and very
Yep.
much like you, Mike, actually. Not in bitterness,
but with
not in
musical
bitterness,
talent,
but with musical talent. And
Mozart died in poverty.
I mean, exactly.
yeah.
I mean, loads of people do, but the thing that really pisses me off are all the kind of like Mercury Award winners being from like, nepo babies essentially. But some of them are exceptionally talented.
Yeah, they can't deny it, but they've had those doors open to them.
But they've
and
had
that's
the
where
doors
I
open to them.
tell everyone to go to Google and Google private school mafia.
Please do. Like
So,
Emerald,
just-
who created Saltburn, for example,
Saltburn.
which is essentially a rip-off of Ripley.
Yeah, it is kind of, but
A massive rip-off.
It,
Almost
it,
scene
it's
by
like a
scene.
warning to the aristocracy about being mates with the middle class, because they're like, oh, you know, those people who like grow up and the mum's a junkie and the dad's on the street. They're actually lying. They're just pretending. You know, like in Little Britain, where he's not really disabled. They're just pretending. They're just middle class people pretending to be working class to come and kill you all and steal your manor house.
Because you and I had a very different view on this, but looking back at it, like there is a lot of problematic aspects to that, especially when
Yeah.
you consider that the person that wrote it was exceptionally privileged,
Yeah.
and the whole kind of like pretending to be poor but actually secretly middle. It's just distrust towards the working poor.
Who
class.
wrote
So
it?
walk amongst the people.
It was Emerald Fennell.
Right.
Did you see the one that she did before that, Promising Young Woman? With Carvey Mulligan.
I didn't watch it.
Okay.
Because I've not watched it because I've heard there's a twist, which is I'm not going to give anything away for a spoiler, but
He's a ghost.
it's actually a ghost.
He was dead the whole time.
They hit the iceberg.
It's very much my cup of tea, but I haven't watched it.
I
no.
much prefer Promising Young Woman to Saltburn.
I mean, at first I didn't really agree with you because you said it was kind of like demonising the working classes or the lower classes, whereas I found that every single upper class person in that was odious.
Yes,
Like,
they were, and that should have been it. That should have been the thing. If he'd done exactly the same thing, but he had come from a working class background, I'd have no problem with that
But wasn't
story.
it a fight back against the aristocracy and the upper classes, though?
Yeah, but it was this idea that he was only pretending to be working class. He was actually middle class, and he came from
But
quite a nice
loads
family,
do,
actually.
though. Loads do. I've met loads of people that come from a middle class family that pretend to be working class in order to have that kind of like edge or credential, or pretend to be like traumatized enough to create real art. And it's such a con, and it kind of oversteps the voices of actual working class people.
Yes.
And that's a massive problem.
Yeah.
So that's a...
Could you see
Are
how
you
I saw
stepping
it
in
from
as a-
my way, though? From like, it was
I
like
did
a
see.
warning to the aristocracy: don't be friends with the plebs.
Can I-
Absolutely.
They will,
Yeah,
you
yeah,
know,
yeah. I
kill
did.
you. And
I
There's
then
did.
another dimension to this, which is the idea that the working class and the middle class are still different groups,
Yeah.
right? Because
Well, they
actually,
are.
it's another form of divide and conquer, right? Because
they are, though.
no, but in terms
They are
relative
in a
to the
way.
billionaires,
No,
Yeah,
no,
we're all the
they
same.
are in a way.
we're all down here.
This is the numbers
Working
thing
class,
again,
middle
isn't it?
class.
Yeah, yeah.
So I think
Billionaires
there
up
are.
here.
So I
Right,
think
so-
there are. Yeah. So I think there are two kinds of people. One who earn money from their time, and that means the working class and the middle class are the same in that regard. And
Yeah,
one
until
who
you're
make
like trying to pay the bills, yeah.
and one who make money from existing money.
Yeah,
Having
from money.
From
They make money
capital.
from money.
And
get rewarded
that
for it.
is the upper class, the
But
elite.
that doesn't make the middle class and the working class the same.
No,
No,
they are
not at all.
not. And
But we're
and
still at the lower. I get what
Right,
you're saying
yeah.
in terms of the grand
Right.
scheme of things.
Statistically, it does.
And they can
Right,
swap
but I
between
think
those
that
groups
the-
quite,
There
quite
was
often,
there was
you
a
know?
brilliant Onion report this week about the growing gap between the rich and the super rich,
Yeah.
and how this was affecting how much people can buy.
Yeah, this is the
and
thing. A
stuff.
working class person can become middle class, and vice versa. But they've both
Right.
got no chance at all of becoming a billionaire,
well,
Yeah.
right? So
low chance. Let's say. But I
appro-
like to talk
approaching
in
zero.
probability.
Let's
Have
say
you still
approaching
got
I
zero.
hope?
like to-
You're still hoping.
The American dream is strong in this one.
Well, yes.
When
no,
you do
There's no
become a
UK
millionaire, don't delete my
It's
number.
gone.
I've got everyone's numbers. Don't worry.
Thanks, John.
no, but I think that while there are differences between the middle class and the working class, there are more things in common. So this goes. So I think that this goes back to what Mike and I were talking about, like in terms of the 400 quid Taylor Swift ticket and the 400 million Trump jet from Qatar, right? It's like
Unobtainable.
so like I don't know, like you can look at like a 400 quid couple of tickets to a concert and £1,000 ticket to a club, right? And those are, yes, there's a gap between them, but 400 million is on another level. It'll take like years and decades and centuries to get there.
But there's opportunities. The problem is no one's ever going to be able to reach the status of a billionaire. But as someone that grew up dirt poor, looking at middle class lives, like the opportunities and the confidence and the ability to even just have a fucking desk in your bedroom or afford a food shop or something, that is like, you feel a million miles apart from a middle class person. I get in the grand scheme of things you're saying that, you know, compared to billionaires and millionaires, but that's like comparing like the Earth's distance from like fucking Pluto and Mars. Like, it doesn't mean that it's on par. Like, the things that you suffer as someone who can't necessarily afford to fix your washing machine compared to someone who can afford a skiing holiday is a fucking million miles apart when you've lived it. Like, that's...
Yeah, no, I agree. But like, also, like, for example, like when I was growing up, I mean, like, I'm positively positively middle class in the UK now.
I'm joking.
Sorry about that. And that,
What are you doing here?
no, and I like really help it because it's a fun. I mean, like it's a function of
Milky
the
bars
work
are on
I
you.
do, whatever it is. But like when I was growing up, right? Like I grew up in India, and we didn't even have a stereo till I was, I don't know, like 13 or 14. We didn't have a washing machine till I was an adult.
I'm interested in the caste system there because it's very interesting. It's alien to me. Is it very similar to the middle, upper, lower here?
No, it is not.
Forgive my
You
ignorance.
were faster than me on that.
Even
Yes,
inherent
you're right.
racism.
No, it's not racism, you dick.
Oh yes, there is.
No, I thought you were talking about me.
No. I meant in the caste system
I-
there is some inherent racism.
What you're talking about is that
But
even
it's
the
just an
people
echo.
in this
I thought you were
country who are
accusing me.
working
Not
class,
cool.
they had a washing machine.
Yeah.
Might not have been able to pay to repair it if it
Yeah,
went on the
right.
blink, but they didn't. They had a stereo.
Yes.
But you growing up in India,
No, my
that's another level, isn't it?
right. So my family in India would have been middle class, right? Because both my parents had jobs,
Right.
and both my parents had professional jobs. So my dad worked as an engineer in a automobile factory, right? And my mom was a teacher in a school, and so they both had this. I mean, they both had sort of educated jobs, right? So they would be in middle class, but there were weeks when we had 20 pence to get through the whole week, and 20 pence in India is a lot more than 20 pence is here, and this is in the 90s or the late 80s. But even then, it wasn't a lot. It was barely enough for us to get basic vegetables or flour or rice and just cook the base, and we couldn't afford it. And so there was no way in hell that you would think about a phone or a washing machine or a bike or even a car would be way above what we could afford, definitely. But now to be here as a brown now to be here as a brown immigrant, right? And to consider myself in the middle class, and that's purely because I'm educated and I do jobs that are not considered considered working class, right? But so I see commonalities that are there, and so it's yes, I mean for sure put more taxes on me and help everybody else, and that's great. But there is this layer of society that is so far beyond what we can hope to achieve that we need to look at that. So yeah.
And they're not even part of society. That's the point, isn't it?
Well,
Part of their own
Well, this is why I would like universal basic income, so people could
We desperately need that.
have a go. At the moment, only 8% of people who work in film and TV are working class in this country. That is a fucking disgrace. We should be fucking embarrassed about that, because it means that people aren't getting to tell their story. And we get to see this. Whenever we turn on the TV, it's always a period drama or some kind of Notting Hill thing where people are very posh and rich and living a very posh, rich, Bridget Jones life, And I'm sick of that. I want to hear the stories of the working class and not stories told on behalf of the working class by the posh people who go, I'm sure this is how working class people lived. I went to a terrace street once. I observed. And you're like, oh, for fuck's sake. You know, when Will Self went and lived on the top of a fucking tower block. Will Self, who is privately educated, he goes and lives on the top of a tower block for a week.
And of that 8%, how many are people of colour or women?
Yeah.
Like, it's like an 8% of working class people. In that, you've got the people of colour, you've got the people that are women, you've got the people that are trans, the people that are disabled. Where the fuck are their stories?
Yeah.
And the problem is, like, we've had a kind of a bit more of a resurgence of like female directors and people of colour directing films, and it's an entirely new world that we're getting to see, and it's awesome.
Yeah, and it's joyous. It's the thing is, the people that I know who are working class don't want to tell stories about working class people. They don't want to tell stories about struggling to pay the fucking rent. They want to tell stories about space robots from from another planet. They want to tell big fucking interesting stories, and we don't have it at the moment.
We should be able to have both of these things, or all of these things. That's the point about UBI, is it enables us to be creative without the constraints of having to like meet the market demands.
Oh, they
right?
don't want creativity.
I don't think I've seen anybody who's not in favor of UBI. It's the the only question that's in most people's mind is, how are we going to fund it?
Yeah.
But
that's easy.
UBI is
welfare's more expensive.
Josh has got a plan for this.
No, the current welfare system is more expensive. There you go. That's easy.
Before Josh gets into that, thank you very much to Veg Pie for
another rant.
Veg Pie
for the super chat. Thank you. I like it. I like it here.
Having vegan wine, by the way.
Yeah.
So
Guys.
I like it here. It's a warm and friendly place. Thank you, Veg Pie. Hope to see you at the conference in Liverpool in September.
That's what she said.
Hey,
That's what I said.
Ruth Guthrie, thank you very much. I don't get why people who support UBI also supports mean testing. Mean testing costs more than to do not. Scotland doesn't means test. Yeah, couldn't agree more. Yeah, it does seem a bit.
It does
daft
cost money,
to
but
me.
at the same time, millionaires getting money they don't need.
Well, we can talk about the UBI and whether
test
millionaires deserve to get
literally
UBI.
pretends you don't understand what UBI is.
Sorry, not UBI.
You know?
The winter fuel allowance. I do find it a bit mad that if you were a millionaire living in another country that doesn't have winter, you could actually, claim for
Doesn't
winter
have
fuel
winter.
allowance.
Who doesn't have winter?
But again,
Thailand.
the
They could live in the
bureaucracy.
tropics.
like heating.
It's a pensioner who's retired, living in the tropics, and they could claim winter fuel
But
allowance.
often it's cheaper
Oh,
to
they
give
can?
the billionaire. It's cheaper to
Okay.
give the billionaire 100 quid than it is to decide whether to give them the 100 quid or not.
Yeah.
For
Costs you
£100.
more than £100
So you just
to
give them
work
the
out.
100 quid.
You can make a billionaire. Fuck off.
And that's
that
the whole
should
point.
be a new kind of like
true.
charity
That's
advert.
true.
It's just like one of the things that Pranay was talking about earlier about the Norwegian prison system as well, right? Is that actually it's cheaper to do it the way that looks more expensive at the point of delivery because of the effects on society.
But it's all about rhetoric.
Mike, can
That's
you
the
read
problem.
that?
Well, it's
Can you
about
read that?
no joined
Can I
up
read
systems
it?
thinking.
Yeah, you
on
can
any of
read
this
it. Can
stuff.
someone else
Can
read
I
it? Because
read
I
it?
don't want to. Because I'll fuck up the pronunciation.
Okay,
One angry pagan. Thank you very much for the £10 super chat.
I'm gonna fuck up.
We are lots of super chats
Okay,
behind.
it's Mike.
It's
Mike,
a Lord of the Rings moment.
Go
isn't
on.
it?
I don't
There's
know
like
anything
5
about
more
Lord of
super
the
chats
Rings.
after
Give
this, by the
us,
way.
give us your best
Lord of the
Gandalf.
Rings.
All right,
Come
so
on.
come on. I don't know what this is, but
That's
it's one angry pagan. Hello, the Eddas tale of Loki changed sex and species, then gave birth to Odin's horse Sleipnir, then switched back. A tale over 1,000 years old. My point is, the idea is not being a straight white male is far from new.
I fucking love
Because
one angry pagan.
unicorns.
Thank you. Thank you. Round of applause for that super chat.
Most people are not straight white males.
That
Trying
was
to
awesome.
read
And have never been.
Yuri, thank you very much. As a jobbing photographer, I agree with Tan. AI should have no place in photography. I'm finding that a lot of my fellow photographers are using film.
I've always used film, and the
yeah.
problem is we've had image manipulation since the invention of photography.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
So we've
And
always
naked
had
ladies.
this.
Yes.
I mean, they used to like remove like dictators from historical photographs, etc. It's always been
Retouching
around.
photos.
Always retouching
Film special
out photos,
effects.
yeah.
My personal favourite was hearing someone say he's as bent as £5 notes. I think it's a 6 bob note, but never mind. Hopefully you can do better, as I suffered from a fatal brain hemorrhage. I'm sorry about you suffering from a fatal brain hemorrhage. Don't know how you managed to put a super chat in the chat, but thank you very much. Dark by 4x4.
He lives.
He lives.
Time traveller.
Quincy in their Irish wedding plus live band equals all the aunties and mothers on the floor, tearing it up. Especially to come on early for some reason. No AI is going to beat that. Quincy, I absolutely agree. There's nothing to replace a live
Come
band.
on, Eileen is a banger.
And then Jim here, Jim Higham, thank you very much. No pearls of wisdom. Just wanted to drop in, say thank you, super folks, for all the sanity, and say how lovely it is to see you all together.
You think we're
Cheers.
What channel are you watching?
Thank you very much, Jim.
I think
Higham.
just to add to that, because I think that's true. Like, you know, we've been arguing tonight, but we're having the right kinds of arguments, right? We're having the arguments.
Have we been arguing?
I thought we were debating.
Whatever.
Are you having an argument?
No, but what I'm
Oh my god, you gotta have an argument
you
about an
kicking off,
argument.
Josh?
No, we all hate each other.
arguing.
I got it right. We're all arguing.
Josh,
It's
you
horrible.
Some slide.
So what I mean
How
is,
dare you say we're
what
on?
How dare you? That is so offensive, Josh.
I'm just reading the comments.
What I mean is, very often, you know, in political discourse, the argument seems to be whether rights exist or not, right, and that kind of thing.
Yeah.
And we're having a much more nuanced debate, which is accepting that rights exist, and then the right ways to enact them
Yeah,
and
do
to
we do
actualise
something
them.
about it?
Do you know why we're doing that? Because we're better and sexier than everybody else.
Yeah,
Right, but
absolutely.
the simple thing is, this is the right type of argument or debate to have, rather than whether rights exist or not for different types
And
of
also,
people,
we
right?
don't all
Do you
agree
reckon
with
keep
each
the
other. We're not a
conversation going
homogenous
for 5
group
minutes,
of
or we go
people.
for
I
it?
mean,
Sure.
people
Which way
often
are you gonna go?
assume that we all,
Just lean forward.
oh fucking hell.
Oh, you're leaving?
But this
People
is the type of
assume-
sanity that...
This is the kind of
He's
thing that
gonna leave us
happens.
with his channel.
Hello.
Oh, now we can sabotage his channel.
People.
That fucking Graham, that fucking...
goodbye.
Oh my god.
Mic check. One, two,
how
one,
can we
two.
sabotage him?
Okay, we're taking over
Guys, I'm gonna
Graham's
rip-
channel
This is a
now.
unique opportunity.
I'm going to remind you that Graham handed the
There is
leadership to me in
peanuts.
an inherited
No,
power
he did
situation.
not.
How do I change the
He
name of
did
his
not.
channel?
Oh, yeah.
Right,
Oh,
it's
man,
all
this is amazing.
debating. You were throwing wine over each other. Anne Phillips, thank
No,
you
no,
very
why
much.
not
yeah,
wine over
Super
Josh?
chat.
Total argument.
My
Josh
wine.
was the only person that got wine.
You probably can't
thrown
see it,
over
but
him.
My
this is the
Oh
aftermath
my
of the wine.
God.
Now I have to have a different wine because
Yeah.
You look like me when I've had a
We get
very
a wet
bad
crotch
period.
shot of Josh. I mean, that's going to be worth something.
I mean, I can only imagine.
Tan's got the mic at last. I know these fucking men keep talking over me because they're a bunch
Please
of
stop.
fucking
4-1, we outnumber you. It's democracy.
Fuck you. I mean, I have to admit, Josh is one of the very few people that I've ever met that actually acknowledges when he's interrupted someone. Unlike you.
It's
bastard.
become a bit...
I'm joking.
It's actually become a bit of a tick.
No, you're like, I'm sorry.
Oh, yeah.
That's a really
sorry,
good
Josh.
Yeah.
No, but that's a really good compliment and quality.
It is.
No, it's amazing for Josh because he actually
Often does
acknowledges
talk
it.
over people,
So if you've got
just
any,
like this.
if you've got any questions for me, please
prove me wrong.
give them to me now before. Oh fuck, he's
he's
back!
Oh, great!
No!
No!
Right, okay.
No! We're having fun on your channel, please.
Everyone's left. Everyone's left.
Oh,
It's all
I'm,
Josh.
in charge.
I'm staying. I'm staying.
nobody-
Punch up so I can fit it back in.
Need to move up a bit.
No.
oh.
I don't know what time we're going to be thrown out of this pub.
We're
by
not.
the
We're
way.
not. I've just spoken to the barman,
Okay.
and we're all right till 12. So
Oh.
yeah, we might not go that long.
No,
I
no,
don't know
no.
if I'll
That's,
be able
Obviously
to
we
go
have
until
homes.
12.
yeah, that's
to go to.
I don't have a home.
Well, we don't have homes here.
Nobody has a home.
And
No,
there's-
except Mike.
And then there's questionable insanity. It's been a member for 21 months. Thank you so
sir.
much. And it says, "Is this the right room for an argument?" Which is from
Uh,
Monty
That's a
Python.
Monty Python reference. Yeah, amazing.
Thank you. Thank you. We always love a good.
Can you are amazing.
Thank
You're
you.
amazing, Sarah Davis.
She is.
Over in
She is
Wales.
amazing.
Aw, thank you, Pranay.
Graham is back to impose his authoritarian system on us. Lol.
Respect is all.
What have you been saying about me while I've
Somebody
been
made a
away?
vegan comment.
We were trying to
There was a
change the name
rebellion.
of the
Vegan
channel.
wine is kicking in.
I
Hey.
tried to
Try and
keep
change
control
the
of them. They wouldn't.
Oh, you did not.
See,
I didn't.
our
I made
wine
no
didn't-
attempt.
Man, could you sommelier
I'm a
me?
vegan activist,
please?
so.
Oh, of course.
Oh, thank you.
I'm not
So-
going to say it was true.
Where's your glass?
I think it's
your
that
glass?
one. I don't care.
Tilt
so-
it, please, darling.
Tilt it. Okay, we'll tilt
My
it.
first ever job was as a
tilt it.
silver service waitress.
Why do you have to
I
tilt
just
a
slightly lowered
wine
my
glass?
jeans now.
Because it doesn't froth, so
Brilliant.
you don't technically have
It
to
helps
tilt
the pouring. without
But
it being
why?
messy.
Because it doesn't
It's
froth.
a pour if you don't pour it in
No,
the
but if
correct
it's
proportion.
lager, right?
And like if you
Oh, no,
notice,
I want more
like
wine,
okay,
definitely.
so
Thank you.
tilt it please,
Well,
and then
okay.
you
But
twist.
it's the same effect.
You
But
twist.
it's the same effect.
You twist to stop the dropping. I mean, normally I would hold it from that direction if I was doing
Whatever.
the restaurant.
Top political debate here.
I won't argue.
I get a deep feeling there's a reason people like us aren't allowed to make TV. Because if this is
Oh,
what
come on,
it
does
is,
this not feel like Channel 4 in the 90s? They used to have
It
shows
does,
like
yeah.
this,
Yeah.
and then Oliver Reed would come
Oliver
on.
Reed pissed
They were all a
me.
bunch of
apart.
wankers.
Yeah.
She just swore at us.
She did,
On the mic?
she did.
I
What? I
heard
didn't say
you.
anything.
I heard you. Well, I saw you.
you're
I
saying
Stop trying to
swearies.
gaslight me, Pranay.
You're saying
Pranay-
swearies.
Pranay's trying to gaslight
Okay,
me.
hiding.
Josh has
Oh
just
my
gone. I feel
God.
really bad. I spilled
where's
an
Josh?
entire glass of wine
An
over
entire
Josh's.
glass.
Yeah, it was an entire glass of wine over Josh's crotch.
Right in his
Right in
crotch.
his nutsack.
Shit. In his nutsack.
My glass of wine.
And
No,
you've got
he's-
nuts
he's-
all over your keyboard
He's
right
going to come
now.
back with a weapon. I think he's gone to get
And
like
now
a,
I have to drink a different wine. All
Guys, what do you think we should be talking about for the next however long
wait.
until we get kicked out of the pub?
Oh shit! Sorry.
just put crisps all over
Oh,
my.
you asked me to put it away. So no,
I said, Pranay, stop making noise, and he puts. He just dumped a load of crisps over my
Pranay!
head.
I should clean it.
This is why,
I should clean
immigrants are getting a bad rap.
I should clean it. I should clean it.
Don't worry about it, man.
Immigrants coming over here,
Spilling
doing vital
crisps.
jobs,
Spilling crisps
spilling
Yeah.
crisps on
all
our
over our
deck.
I
equipment.
came over from a distant world, took your jobs, and now. I'm
And this
spilling
is how
crisps.
you do it. Like, you
Yeah.
spill crisps.
But at least I'm kind of, like.
At least you're of use to
integrating-
society.
Like integrating in the British society.
Whereabouts in India did you go?
I grew up in Delhi, but my family, my grandparents were from Pakistan.
Okay.
They came to India as refugees in partition because like Britain had a policy of divide and rule, right?
Yes,
So
they did.
Wow.
Pakistan and India became two different countries in 1947.
What are your thoughts on Modi?
Huh?
What are your thoughts on Modi?
Modi is interesting.
These are
It's like
Josh he just come to budge up to me. Josh, budge up.
yes.
Modi is a very interesting fascist.
No, I agree, and I will not say more for fear because I'm still an Indian citizen. So
Yeah.
But
so you have to be careful.
He's a
about
lovely
that.
man, and we all think everything he does is
He's
great.
a lovely
Absolutely.
bloody
Shall
fascist.
I act as interpreter?
No.
I shall now speak in Hindi. So no. Hindi might be worse actually.
Yeah, he'll understand that. You're in trouble.
But the thing is that I think that most people in the West now see India through the lens of Modi and the BJP. Thank you, Dan, for the ASMR. But I didn't know I could do stand-up. Hey, anyway. But if I may continue my political fucking opinion. Anyway.
Do you want the sound effects again?
Oh my god.
Yeah, let's recreate the moment.
Choose sound effects. Go.
Yes.
Thanks, Dan.
No, so I think that what most people wouldn't know is that fewer people voted for Modi in India than like voted for Trump or like voted for Brexit. So I think
What?
yeah. So I think that
Fewer people.
Volume or percentage-wise?
fewer proportionally in India.
Oh god, proportionally. I thought you were saying like literally fewer
No,
people.
no,
I'm
like India has
I'm
fucking
pretty sure
I
there's
don't know, like
1.4 billion people.
25 billion.
That thing about
every
proportional representation.
Yeah.
Let's have a chat about that.
No, but like one of the gifts of Britain to India was first past the fucking post.
Barking post.
And
Is that what they call it in India?
they call it in Hindi, but yeah. Oh well, in
First
the
past
north they
FTF
call it in
first.
Hindi, in the south they call it in Tamil and Kannada and Telugu and
I'm popping to the
and
bar,
you know
everyone
various.
drink.
But yes, yeah. No, but like the thing is that what I don't like is the characterization of the whole country through this far right lens because
Same.
most of us
Same in Britain though as well.
I
That's
know,
the point.
but
Same
you
in America.
realize it for the UK.
Yeah.
But you don't realize it for India, because for you, India is a distant country, and so
You're absolutely right that that's the general consensus,
Right.
or not consensus, but the general way that
Right.
we approach other countries
Precisely.
is through the lens of who happens to lead them at any one moment.
Precisely.
I absolutely agree. Absolutely.
Precisely. And like there is like great art and literature and political opinion coming out of India that gets rejected because if it is even remotely supportive of stuff that is considered not kind of leftist, then it gets rejected. And I
Not leftist. You mean?
well,
So,
I mean,
so it's not
I'm
Modi
talking about
and the BJP. It's not them.
right. Because I think that there is a qualitative difference between Modi and the rest of the world's sort of like more like authoritarian leaders. Is that Modi has uniquely surrounded himself with relatively competent ministers, which Boris Johnson, for example, didn't.
Yeah.
Right, and Trump certainly hasn't.
No.
But Modi is popular in India for that reason. So Modi himself uses religion and division to promote himself because he leverages it, right?
Yeah.
But there are some aspects of this, and it's very difficult to criticize it without also somehow taking part in it, and it's like feels wrong, and it's difficult for me
But you
as
feel-
an extreme leftist
You
to
genuinely feel nervous being on a podcast that, let's face it, probably not seen in India much, basically.
no, but it's going
But
to be
you-
on the
you
record.
feel nervous about
no,
the
saying
right
something.
no,
person sees it and shares it.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
the-
No, so I feel more nervous criticizing the Indian government than I do about the UK or the US.
Right.
Definitely. But do I feel nervous? No, I do not, because I'm a bold guy, relatively, and I really couldn't give a fuck. So I
Well,
don't.
Modi
but
first-
but I think that like most people would. For sure.
Modi first came on my radar because I was in Ahmedabad in Gujarat in
Yeah.
February of 2002.
Oh wow.
And I was there 2 weeks before
No,
the
that's the
massacre that
worst time.
happened. And Modi was the regional governor.
No, not the governor, but the chief minister. So
The chief minister
is
for Gujarat.
right. So the chief minister is the elect. So is
Right.
the head of the elect.
Yeah.
Is the head of the elected.
Would you equate the BJP with the BNP over here in it being like a nativist kind of we don't like people who are different kind of movement?
I think I would equate the BJP to somewhere like halfway between the Tories and also Reform,
Yeah.
and the equivalent of the BNP in India would be the RSS.
Okay.
The RSS is the Rashtriya
But
Swayamsevak Sangh, which is like a very
BJP.
Anyway, people can Google.
From
so.
what I've ascertained from a very very pro Hindu, and a lot of their policies have been quite anti-Muslim. And as 200 million people in India are Muslim, this to me I feel like this should not be the way that India's being run. Or
No, I agree. I mean, like one of the founding India's founding principle was that it needs to be a country for like everyone.
Everyone. Yeah.
And India has more Muslims now, I think, than all but two like Muslim countries in the world. So these are a lot of people.
Indonesia and Bangladesh, I think.
Yeah, right. So I mean, like India has more.
Something like that.
I think that India has more Muslims now than Pakistan, and Pakistan was created to be a Muslim country.
Yeah.
So I think India had those visions, or those like visionaries rather. Sorry, in the beginning, the founding fathers of India, so to say. I think we are definitely deviating from those original principles a bit, but we are still in a position where it can be recouped. Like we can go back. It's
hope
not.
so.
It's not like in a point of no return right now. So yeah. When's Dan's gonna join us? Where's she?
She's gone off to get a cocktail, and she's just come back up to get her phone.
To get a way of paying for the cocktail.
Bizarrely, I learned quite a lot about the separation between India and Pakistan in Ms. Marvel.
In what?
Miss Marvel.
You have to give me the context.
I thought
I
you
don't
meant,
know Miss
I
Marvel.
thought you said Miss Marple.
No,
for a minute.
Miss Marvel is a relatively new.
Marvel.
Marvel, as in
The comics.
the
Marvel
comics.
superheroes.
Yeah,
Okay.
because it's the big topic in that, which is it's a relatively new
the
character.
film?
No, the TV series.
No, right. Okay.
Miss Marvel, not Captain Marvel.
Okay. Sorry, I'm
The-
lost. I'm
yeah,
lost in the Marvel
young
universe
girl,
these days.
The young girl who discovers her heritage in this story,
Right.
and you're taught about the separation of India and Pakistan
You're right,
in the
okay.
story, which was quite an amazing thing.
Doctor Who did one as well.
Right.
A million people died in partition, and we never talk about it in Britain.
Yeah.
No,
We
and
never
I
talk
It's
think
not even that we don't talk about it. It's that most people have no fucking clue
No,
that even was a thing, and I didn't.
It's a classic.
No, like-
redrew the lines and told people.
Yeah.
things.
yeah, like for example, like for like my parents to become refugees in India, so they had to move about like a
So were they Hindus in the area that
Yes,
was determined to be
yeah.
Pakistan?
Yes, yeah. So they were Hindus for like me, they lived on the border between Pakistan and like Iran, and so they moved about 1,000 miles ish into India, and they took various routes. Like they walked quite a lot. So they basically had to pack all the stuff because there were riots and
And it's not like they
all those-
bought a house in Delhi and went,
No,
okay,
they
we're
lived-
going to
they
move
lived-
the house in Delhi.
No,
they literally
they
had to just
essentially
go.
lived. No, they essentially lived in a tent for
Yeah.
quite a few years, and then they brought some jewelry with them because like Hindus have a tradition that they.
The handover of
Oh,
power.
Wow.
The sort of for independence of India was supposed to take 5 years,
it's amazing.
and we did it in 5 months.
Just like-
Lord Mountbatten was in charge, and he just went, I can't be arsed with this, whatever, you guys do what you want. And the guy who drew the lines on the map that now differentiate India from Pakistan and India from what's now Bangladesh, which was East Pakistan, and also the line that divides India and Pakistan from Kashmir, that everyone's fighting over, was a British guy who had never been to India before.
Now, where has that happened elsewhere?
Everywhere.
Almost
Every
everywhere.
like-
Exactly.
Yeah, just to bring a local
Yeah.
flavour to this, the
Like
story
this-
of the
it's-
pavilion.
Imagine if someone from the Indian subcontinent, imagine if someone came from Punjab to the UK and just drew a line on a map and said, right, everyone has to move from this place. Everyone in St. Helens, you all have to move to Liverpool.
We have a-
or we,
on a
That is
on a
Wales
Brighton
and that is
connection to
England,
this.
or that is Scotland and this is England.
We have
Yeah.
a royal palace
It's
here
mad.
called the Pavilion. Yeah.
Hey, welcome back.
And it looks like the Taj Mahal.
Okay,
right?
you've
To
gotta-
some extent,
you've gotta get
it looks
us there.
like the Taj Mahal.
He'd never been, had he?
But the king,
Yeah.
the prince that commissioned it had never been.
Prince
Prince
George.
George.
Yeah, yeah.
The
Prince
architect who designed it had never been. And they built it, and in the end, Queen Victoria handed it back to our council because she fucking hated it, basically. Because he built it to impress his girlfriend who lived across the road from
And
Stein.
Queen Victoria was a massive racist.
Queen Victoria just hated the palace because people could see in her windows, to be honest. And she buggered off with all the wallpaper and left the council with the empty building. But during the First
That's
World War,
essentially true.
yeah,
Like,
during the First World
That's a
War,
great story.
they sent Indian soldiers who'd been fighting in the trenches in the Somme, who got injured. They were all brought back to England for hospitalisation, so they turned that into a hospital for the Indian soldiers.
So the
And the Indians, all of whom were incredibly poor, they'd come. There's nobody fighting in the trenches in England who was upper middle class or whatever from India. So they all turn up, look at this place, and go, we don't live in places like this. They ended up sleeping outside most of the time because they felt it was an insult to them and their culture and everything else, and they were expected to live there.
So many layers to that.
Yeah, the history of that building, I think, typifies all of the problems with the Brits.
I've never learnt something about British history in all of my studies, in all of my years, and all my travels. I've never learnt something and gone, I don't want to be British anymore. I've gone, oh, that was a shit thing that we did. I want more people to know that we did that shit thing.
Yeah, yeah.
But it doesn't make me think I don't want to be
Are you
British.
saying you don't hate your country, Greg?
I don't hate my
Because
country.
we all get told we hate our country.
Because every
all the
country in the
time.
world has the rough and the smooth. Do you know what I mean? There's like some shit things they did and some
Yeah.
good things they did.
Yeah.
But we don't know the shit things we did because it's not taught in our schools.
And we're also
No,
taught that
but-
the shit things we did were the great things we did.
Yeah, the
We were
empire
doing-
was great.
We were
Let's bring
doing
it
it for the
back.
good. of the people.
but like, can I give you another perspective from me, which is that what I've realized is that through like colonization, Anyway,
Same
colonization. I think what I've realized through reading and a lot of research is that the British working class were just as exploited
Worse.
as the colonies.
Some really good points.
Yeah.
And
Some really good points.
so it's and so when we say that Britain colonized India, no, Britain did not colonize India.
Colonized Manchester as well.
If
Salford,
you
yeah.
think about that during COVID, the Tories could, bring in policies that would deliberately, they knew that this would harm and kill thousands of people.
Yeah.
British people,
But-
and they did it.
I don't know if you saw it this
So
week.
they would do it in India.
This is the same thing as
And
judging an
that's what
entire
they did.
country based on Modi, right? It's the same thing. Like, most people in most countries do not want the things their governments are doing.
Yeah.
This is such a great point because a working class person in the UK, or even a middle class person in the UK, has more in common with someone in India
Right.
than
Yes,
they do
precisely.
with Elon fucking Musk.
No,
Which is
precisely.
like evident. I've got a
And
few
like-
super chats.
Yeah, okay. No, please go
So
ahead.
Quincy, thank you very much for the £2 super chat. It just says lock in. We don't be here all night. We don't be here all night, my friend. And Veg Pie saying this is brilliant. Heart eyes. Thank you so much, Veg Pie. That's really kind of you. And I think there were some more. Oh no, okay, that's it.
Yeah.
So go on. What were you going to say?
Yeah, so what I was gonna say is, that people on the left in the UK, I find quite often
There we go.
tend to feel guilty about
Oh,
their
excellent.
past. And I don't like that, and I don't want that. I don't want you to feel guilty.
Hey!
It wasn't on you, Josh.
I love the universal British thing to go, hey!
I
Swing
mean-
a bottle or a glass.
Oh shit!
I think Mike will make a great Doctor Who.
I think we should probably buy the bar a drink for
Yeah.
Doctor
hosting us
Who?
tonight.
Yeah,
It's
no.
very
Go on.
nice.
Yeah,
for them to
Pranay,
have
sorry.
us.
Right. So what I was saying was that I don't like when people on the left in Britain feel guilty about colonization or about slavery. And people may not know the full history, and that's fine. But when people do, sometimes they feel reluctant because it makes them feel guilty. The more they want to, the more that they are kind of, the more they are exposed to it.
So
But think about it as the elitist British layer
Yeah.
in the 18th and the 19th
It's a
and
really good
20th
way of putting it.
centuries. And think about it as the Tories, really. In the past 10 years, what have the Tories done in the past 15 years? What the Tories did in Britain, that's what they did to India. And they had no sort of personal goal of caring for Indians' welfare. So that kind of played into it. So there's no need to feel guilty. And that's why India and Britain are friends, because, well, not like all of us know it, but all of us sense it.
I absolutely agree. What I would want is a country where we acknowledge that these things happened.
Oh, yeah.
There is a lot of denial that goes on in the UK
We're not taught it
where
in
we're not
school.
taught it in schools and we don't know. We literally do not know.
No,
Can
but
I add a
sorry.
layer to this, right?
Go
So
on.
I think that we should all collectively have a national guilt for it, but not necessarily a personal guilt, because we have benefited from what happened, and with that national guilt can come some international solidarity as well, right? Because we can acknowledge that our government did something horrible to another people in a different country, and that they share similarities with us in terms of how they are subjugated by their governments and each other's
yeah, sure.
governments, right? So it's about, I think, acknowledging that there is a guilt nationally, not personally, and that can generate a solidarity. I think that's the point about that. So it's worth acknowledging and feeling bad about it almost empathetically rather than personally.
Right.
If that makes
Yes.
sense.
I think that's
No, I
right.
agree.
I think it's
I
right.
agree.
I don't feel bad that something happened that I had no control over. I don't feel bad that it snows, but I do feel it's my obligation to clear the path. Do you know what I mean?
And
Like
the problem is, we're not taught about it. We're not taught about the
Yeah.
effects of it. And it was fundamentally racist, because the way the royalty in this country saw it is that we're freeing them from savagery, and we're implementing our version of education, our version of kind of like culture on these people.
The victors write
and
the
it
history
comes
books,
from a
right?
like white is right kind of
But
feeling.
I
and
think
it's just
Pranay
wrong.
made a really good point there, because the kids in Durham working down the mines at 8 years old, a Tory MP whose statue we have on horseback in the middle of Durham, like, oh my god, isn't this amazing guy? Like, that whole, the way that the working classes were treated was exactly the same as the way that the people in India were treated in all the colonies
goes
around the
beyond
world.
borders.
But there
is
was
the
a
point,
different
right? The class war is an
aspect to
international,
it, though.
international war.
Like, we've always subjugated the poor in this country, always. But the problem is, when you're going into different cultures and different places and telling them that they have to live by a very white standard. And I totally think that your perspective on it was absolutely right, because you're pointing out the fact that those at the lower end of the rung always get the shitty end of the stick, which is absolutely correct. But there was the overarching, and also there's the aspect of like enslaving these people. But you also made a really important point that the lower classes are massively enslaved by the ruling classes.
Yeah,
in this
we're
country
going to
and
bring
the
you some
landowners.
civilization.
No,
And
I
by
mean-
the way, that includes slavery.
Yeah,
We
yeah,
don't
yeah.
call that slavery at home,
Yeah,
but it
well,
basically is. But it's essentially the same thing. Welcome to civilization, everyone.
Yeah.
Go on,
Yeah.
Pranay.
Oh, and by the way, Africa.
Which is all the
no,
same,
we'll-
regardless.
We'll have that as well.
No, but the way that they treat
Yeah.
Africa as well, as if there's not like loads of different cultures and countries.
Yeah, but the
and
Indians
ways of
fought for
doing
us in
things.
Africa too.
Yeah,
like,
yeah, yeah,
they-
yeah.
That's
we
why
got
there are
them
so
to-
many
Yeah.
all over the world. I mean, well,
like, oh,
but
God,
like,
so many layers.
no, but like, no, like you are right. Like the kind of the exploitation of the British work. I mean, of the British working class
It's okay.
was perhaps to a different degree than was the case in colonized countries, right? But
If it was the intent was the same, you know.
yeah,
And
right. So the goal was the same, like economic exploitation, and one of the things about slavery that I should add is that many sort of British people on the right feel proud that Britain was the first country to ban slavery, and I find that extremely strange, because while Britain banned transatlantic slavery and not even taking into account the reparations that were paid
And
to
they
the
paid the slave
slave
owners.
owners that we still paid till 2012
Oh
or whenever.
we were the first
God.
ones to realise that from a marketing perspective, slavery was a bit of a bad image to have.
Right.
Yeah.
And but
So
like
if we wanted to continue to control everything, we should maybe pretend that something else was a better idea.
right,
Pranay, go on.
right. But they banned they essentially banned transatlantic slavery. They didn't ban slavery anywhere else in the
Yeah.
world.
Yeah.
Yes.
And so what came to replace the movement of slaves from Africa to the Americas was the Indians were then sent off to the Caribbean, to the Pacific Islands,
Yeah,
Africa.
Fiji.
to Africa. That's
Durban.
how so many people came to be in Guyana or
Uganda.
I mean, they have got this.
Indentured labourers, which
Right.
were not slaves, on
Which
a
were not
scum.
Did you
slaves
see that
in
plantation
Texas.
that burned down this week?
Come into the
Right.
back room with me.
Oh my
I
God.
need you to vote with me. I'm an abolitionist. I want to get rid of slavery. And you are a conservative. You're a Tory. Come into the back room with me, and we're going to make a deal
why
here.
did you put
And
it
I'm
on
going to
me?
explain. You look like a
You just
Tory.
got that
You're a lever. You're a leaf from water, aren't you?
I'm joking. But can you imagine what
Where
they
are you
said?
sleeping
Hang on.
tonight,
Can you imagine what they said?
On the
If we make slavery illegal, then we can take all of the Spanish, Portuguese, Dutch, French ships that are going across the Atlantic, and we can plunder those motherfuckers.
Legalised pirating.
We can legalize piracy, essentially.
Yeah.
And that's what they did.
Yeah.
So there was a right-wing reason for getting rid of slavery,
Yeah.
as we knew it back then.
Walter
but Pranay's
Raleigh-
right, it never went away.
We didn't-
Slavery
The
is still a
story we
thing
tell
to this
about
day.
Walter Raleigh is he's a national hero playing
Someone
bowls
just,
before the Spanish came. He was
He
a-
did invent
There
the
are more-
he
there are
did
more-
invent the Raleigh chopper, though. so-
commented that in reference to your Tory comment, Wayne, Mike looks nothing like Wayne.
So you know,
Don't put me in Wayne's camp.
Very, 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 very well said. You've scrolled up.
Oh,
so I
sorry.
can't see
I
it.
was just going to check if
you're
there's
right.
any other super chats because we just got a super chat in there from John, I think.
Thank you, John.
John C, thank you
you.
so much for the super chat. That's really kind of you. Saying in the 1800s, the lower classes include the chambermaids held shares in individual enslaved people in the Windies.
So now, today,
The West Indies.
by modern standards of what we define slavery to be, there are more people in slavery literally right now than have ever been before collectively when you add it all up.
Yeah.
So right now, it never went away, and people are saying this in the chat, it never went away. And this is the thing about all of the things that we think we've progressed, right? Actually, it's all got kind of worse. Like our lives, some of us have got better when you think about it, relatively speaking. You know, but actually, there's more slavery now than there ever was. There's more poverty now than there ever was. There's, you know, climate change is happening more than it ever was. You know, there's more nuclear weapons than there ever were. Right?
There are some good news stories.
No, but when you think about the general trajectory of where we're at, all of it's got worse. And it's not just that, the population's got bigger, and so therefore, of course, there's going to be more people in slavery, which in itself would be fucking awful. But no, even relatively speaking, there are more, not just on a numeric level.
I respectfully disagree on this.
But
there's more
the
people now
trap,
living longer everywhere in the
right?
world.
So the trap
Yeah,
we're
but
in,
children dying,
So
more
the trap-
literacy.
right? But this is the trap, right? So the trap we're in is we can bring up stats like that, like, well, yeah, but I feel better than someone.
No, I'm
who...
not talking about me. I'm talking about
Hang on.
around the world.
Yeah. So around the world, the trap is we all feel better than someone who lived 100 years ago, and so this all must be justified in some way, right? But it's not. Of
Also,
course
we
it
have
isn't.
no idea.
You know, because we're actually hundreds of years behind our development if it wasn't just about making a few people rich.
Yeah. But my slaves are very happy, Josh.
But my slaves are
They're
happy, so it's all good.
But there are people that are still
And I'm living 20 years
unable
longer, so
to
fine.
drink clean water, unable to use electricity.
And more than ever before.
And more than ever before. And yet the gap between them and the billionaires has never been larger.
It's more than ever before in absolute terms, in actual numbers, but when it comes to proportions, it's smaller than ever before.
I agree.
Yeah.
There is reasons to be cheerful, and I know, like...
1, 2, 3.
But
No,
the
I'm with
also
you. I'm with you.
the kind of like the end tape for humanity is getting closer and closer as well.
But what do
Alright,
we want,
Captain, calm
Josh?
down.
What do we want? Like the
No, I
happiest
agree,
people
I
I
agree.
met, and I know it's a fucking cliche,
Yeah.
but the happiest people I met were in countries where the gap between rich and poor wasn't that big.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The most miserable people I've ever met have been in the UK,
And
the US.
You know, to bring in US politics at the moment, they through the middle of the night over the last 2 days, the Republicans have shoved through their big beautiful bill or whatever they're calling it, which is giving tax breaks to
They are
people.
cutting Medicare to fund tax
It
cuts.
defunds the cases against Trump.
Yeah.
as well.
But the people that benefit from these tax cuts have to be earning over 150 million a year.
Well, no, it benefits Trump. It's
And
literally
that-
defunded
and that-
the cases against him.
150
Yeah.
million dollars a year.
Clarify.
That-
They are not worth more than 150 million. They earn more
So-
than 150 million a
and to,
year.
and to pay for that.
Fucking hell.
And to pay for that, they're trying to shut down the education department. They are trying
And
to.
why
Okay,
are
but
people
Mike,
supporting
so I think
How is this
Support for
nationalist
senior
in
citizens.
any way?
There's going to be 1 million American old people living on the street. There's going to be dementia patients living on the streets in America in the next
you're
couple
missing
of
the
years.
point. You're
because
missing
of
the point
Trump.
entirely.
Why is Trump still popular?
We're missing the
'Cause
point
people are
entirely.
idiots.
Yeah. The point
Josh
is,
is a bold take.
We
This-
didn't call them idiots enough, did
No,
we,
come
after
on.
Brexit?
Expand, Josh.
the point is, this is the American dream.
What? The American dream is to
Yeah,
get
what?
people
No, the
more
American,
rich?
the American dream
nightmare.
is a construct designed to let them get away with it.
Yeah, so, you know.
Yeah, I agree. That's always been
Story,
Yeah, like-
story
It's all
Tiller,
good. It's all
because
good.
Teller was taken, says, what would postmodern slavery be? And thank you for the super chat.
Look around you.
Pretending we're making money programming AIs.
Ah, well.
There we go.
I'm too
working
depressed.
for an
You're
AI.
talking about YouTube adverts. There's a YouTube advert for data analytics, and it has all these people in a Zoom call. I don't know if anyone's seen these ads, and they look like they've been kept prisoner in their own house, and they're. I haven't looked into exactly what this site is, but it feels to me like these people are being asked to help train AI. and it's a job that you can do from home, and they're all trying to sell the benefits, and they do not look like there are any benefits in these jobs. They're all going, it's a great job, I love it, it's wonderful. It's data analytics, you train for 2 days, you pay £700, and then you can start doing the work. And I'm just sitting there looking at this thing and thinking, you guys are like, you're feeding the machine that is going to destroy you.
That's what I was trying to explain earlier, but you were arguing against me.
I'm less concerned about AI than you or Tan or Aid. I think that it is going to be a tool.
Embracing our new overlords.
No, I think that is something that we need to have legislation to show that if it's made by AI, it's watermarked as made by AI.
You're thinking just content. This is a tiny bit of what AI is doing.
Exactly.
No, that's true.
Okay, that's true. Okay, this is what I do. In my field, in what I do,
okay.
an AI can't travel to every country in the world without flying. It cannot do that.
It will
It
fly
cannot
your fucking
have that
plane,
experience.
and it will welcome you when you get there.
No.
and that's the point.
It can
if there is a thing you don't need a human for, a tech bro is trying to work out how to make money from.
Listen, and you're not wrong.
And it'll welcome
Musk was in Saudi Arabia last week talking about having 1 billion of his stupid robots. Basically,
A trillion.
a trillion.
But he's thinking 500 years ahead, and we're not.
No,
We're thinking, watermarks.
No, 500? No,
You know?
five.
And he's thinking, no, fuck society.
Yeah.
Fuck society entirely.
Because
Because he can afford to, and that's the privilege of being a billionaire. He lives a low-risk life.
And
Yeah.
to an extent,
Even if he's wrong,
Give him his full title, a Nazi billionaire.
even if he's wrong, every single fucking decision he makes for the next 50 years, he'll still be a billionaire.
Yeah.
Right. Let's calm
just
down.
depressing.
We don't have that ability.
Quincy, thank you very much for the €10 super chat. We always love getting euros on this channel. For 80 years, we've had Pax Americana. It is becoming the rule of the dictator again, thanks to Trump's cowardice. This time, there's a chance the little people this time, there's a chance the little people realise there's more of us than there are of them.
100%, but the problem
Thank you very
is
much,
we
Quincy.
don't collectivise. That's the problem. And
Well,
we are in the majority, but we don't feel like we are.
To go back to what Pranay has said,
Why
I
is
think
this guy
that
so pessimistic?
showing
I'm the most
people-
optimistic person here.
Really?
Are you?
No. We're gonna die.
Okay, well, no, let's test that. Let's test that. Let's test that.
Yeah.
Okay,
No,
so
but
I'm
what-
optimistic,
I think
and
what-
you are not. And let me explain why and how.
Okay, tell us
right?
why we're shit, Josh.
What
Come
should-
on.
Yeah. Okay, so what can we
4
do?
against 1. Go on.
I will convert you all.
All right, Bob Gelder.
I'm going to ask a question.
Gospel
Get your
according to
bucket.
I'm
St.
going to
John.
ask a question, and your answers will expose everything. And this is not a personal attack in any way, right? But this is just generally how.
All right, I killed him.
Come on, Mum.
And this is just generally.
Sorry, it wasn't that question.
He was asking
Or maybe we'll do it on the next stream when I've got the mic.
Okay, Josh, go on.
Yeah.
Come on.
How do we solve all this? There you go. That's the question. How do we solve all this?
Solve what?
All the problems we've been
All
talking
of this.
I
What's
don't,
all the
I don't think there's a
Right.
magic bullet. I don't think there's a panacea. I think
Yeah,
there's
go
a
on.
bunch of things that we need to do
Yep.
to
Blah, blah,
set
blah.
ourselves
Josh.
up for the future.
Blah blah blah.
Don't be a dismissive.
Now
liar.
say a real thing.
All right,
Say a
but
real
you
thing.
answer the question first.
Okay.
What is your answer that makes you an
no,
optimist?
no.
What is your answer
Not
that
a
makes you an
fucking game,
optimist?
mate.
Because I know we're in the majority, right? That's what I
Who's
know.
we?
Who's
The people who collectively. I mean, look at support for policies, right? You name a progressive policy, there is majority support for it globally,
Yeah.
right? You know, and in pretty much every country nationally as well, right? So the problem is not that we don't think alike and that we don't want the same things. It's that we don't behave like we think alike and want the same things, and we don't actually get together and do
Well,
it.
whose fault is that?
And
You tell me.
And in the words of Danny Dyer,
I think it's the media
right?
and social
Yeah.
media.
Don't give us a mad riddle, right? Give us.
I'm not.
Be fucking.
It was a simple
clear.
question. How do we solve all this?
No, but be clear. Okay,
Yeah.
what do you think? Because if you
No,
think you know the
because you
answer-
can't just, and that's the problem.
No, mate.
You can't just say, but what do you
It's
think?
fucking broad. So you
Yeah.
need to kind of like condense this into a palatable
Yeah.
bite.
So whenever I generally ask, how do we solve this, and I
Solve
recognise
what?
I recognise that it's a very general question.
So what?
But the answer I generally get back is, well, we'll work it out, or we'll just work together, or something, right?
Nobody
but-
works together anymore.
Precisely.
We're struggling to.
So
struggling.
that answer is
You're
very
struggling to.
the answer is very optimistic, but very unpractical because it doesn't actually outline how we will work together, what we will do, how it will work out, how we will just do stuff, right? So you were saying it earlier, and I'm not picking you out, but like this is generally how people think. Like,
Yeah, Mike,
oh,
you do.
we will work something out, something will happen, the people will do something, the people will rise up. None of that means anything.
I never said
none
the
of that
people will
means-
rise up.
No, you didn't say that, but you said things to that effect, and none of that actually happens.
No, I absolutely
Okay,
didn't,
so
Josh,
I'll-
and I don't
I'll
think
ask
you've been...
again.
I
Josh,
don't think people
So
Josh,
let me ask the question
Josh, I know
again.
you
So
don't
now
like
you
being
know the
interrupted,
context.
but you just
So
accused
now
me
you
of
know the
something that isn't
context.
true.
Fine.
So
now you know the context. Let me ask the question again. How do we solve all this?
all of the problems that we've been discussing so far tonight.
Yes.
There's no silver bullet.
We need to become billionaires.
Okay, so that's an answer.
Okay,
That's how we solve
give
it.
me
And
the
then we're
actual
good.
problem, and I will give you a solution to that problem.
Pick one of the big ones. Slavery, climate change,
You can't be so
name it.
generalised.
Climate
that you
change.
Say
How do we solve it?
absolutely everything. Climate change is a huge subject.
So how do we solve it?
There are 50
How
different
do we
things
solve it?
that we can do to
How do we
help.
solve it?
That we can
So how do we
to
solve
help
it?
solve it.
So how do we
Right?
solve it?
Which I can't encapsulate
Exactly, next
in
que- so next person.
pithy soundbite. But if
So-
I was going to
but
say
this-
for
you
the
see my
United
point?
Kingdom, if I was going to say for the
I
United
don't see
Kingdom,
how it
I would
proves-
say energy self-sufficiency. I
Okay.
would say we have 90% of the potential tidal energy of the entire continent of Europe.
Okay,
Here
good.
in the UK.
Yep.
We have the windiest ocean in the fucking world.
Very
In the
windy.
North
Yeah.
Sea.
Okay,
We need
yeah.
more wind turbines, more turbines in the ocean. We need more solar panels on new builds. There are lots of different little tiny things that all need to come together.
not
There will
one-
never,
yeah.
ever, ever be a panacea. There will never be a cure-all
Yep.
for anything. Even cancer, there are a million different, well, not
Yeah.
a million, there are a few hundred
So-
different types of cancer. Every single organ of your body can become cancerous, and there are different types of cancer of that particular organ. And there's not a cure-all. There never will be.
No, that's not the point though.
You've got to have a
The point-
tailored
What
solution.
is
No,
your
no,
point then?
Listen
Yeah,
to
so-
what he's saying, though.
So, but what you're describing is an outcome, yeah, an ideal situation we could be in, i.e., we have renewable energy and an economic system that is designed to encourage that renewable energy to become the prevalent thing, right? So that's an outcome. How do we get to that? How do we make that happen? We can't
muddle-
just describe an outcome
we
as if
muddle-
it's the solution.
We muddle through like humans do.
And there's the thing that you said earlier.
That's what humans do,
So we
John.
muddle through. Is muddle through a strategy?
We don't have the
Well, your
fucking
perfect
power.
solution is what...
No.
I'm going to
But I
ask
don't
you
think
the
a
question
perfect
again.
solution does.
Climate
No,
change.
there's not an absolute thing.
Josh.
It's
We
not an
don't
absolute...
have the power,
Josh,
mate.
it's
No.
not fair for you
This
to
is
ask a
the
But
question
we're in the
without
majority. Why
being
don't we have the power?
prepared to answer it
We're
yourself.
not the majority.
Yeah, no,
So,
but this is not the challenge.
your optimistic
Yeah,
solution
yeah,
to
yeah,
climate
yeah.
change
Yep.
is what?
That we are in the majority, right?
When you point at the
Yeah.
others and not me, because you've identified that I'm not in your club.
So, but
So explain what you mean by we, humans.
well, okay. The real problem
Poor
is that
people,
the real
middle
problem,
class
the
people,
real
white
problem
people.
is the
What do you
inability to
mean?
have a conversation without talking over each other.
It is, and you're doing it. So what I'm
You
saying
asked
to
the
you
question
is,
and you
who
didn't
is
let me answer
we?
it.
You've already identified I'm not in the we that you're talking about, because I'm your opposition in this debate.
And this problem.
So who is the we?
Do you want me to actually try and explain this?
Yeah, I
or
want you
should
to explain when you say
Okay.
we are in the
And
majority.
the next sentence I
who
say,
you
you're going to
mean.
talk over it.
No, I'm going to let you answer the question.
Okay. So the we is, as I explained earlier, the majority of the people that have support for the policies and support for the parties that generally support these things.
52% of the population then?
No, it's way more than that.
All right, but that
Wait,
would be a
like,
majority,
This is
wouldn't it?
great for you, Wayne.
Well, 50, like anything over 50% is a technical majority, but that's not the way it happens.
So
on
half the
policy.
people are out of this.
I'm just going to stop. Good luck, everyone.
No, but
Peace out. We've got 15 minutes left.
no, we.
I really
Oh, yeah.
enjoyed that. I thought
That
really
was
cool.
fun.
What, we
But
enjoyed
I
coming
think
with
that's
no answers?
I think I gave you
What are all
Graham
these people
gave-
on chat
Graham
I
gave
gave you
dozens
going to
of
go
really
away
good
with
answers.
today to do something? Like, what are they going to do?
But I still
Tomorrow?
want your answer. The majority
gonna
are going to
do?
do
Why,
what?
why are
Like,
you
you
putting
don't
on
want it.
everybody
I
else?
do.
You
I
don't
want
want
the.
it.
I want
You
you to
don't
tell me
want
what the
it. You don't
majority
want
are
it.
going to achieve.
You don't want it. You don't.
I don't think there's one answer to every
No,
question
that's
in the
not
world.
what I fucking
It's
said.
like going up to
I
the
asked you a question.
deep
How do we
thought and
solve
saying
all
what's
this?
the answer
And
like
you were like,
universe
we'll
and
muddle
everything.
through.
Yeah,
That-
because
that's
that's what
what
humans
Mike
do, and that is
said.
my
Isn't
answer.
though, is it? Because there's more slavery, more nukes, more poverty, more climate change than
I
ever
was
been.
giving-
Have we muddled through?
In your pessimistic world, yes.
Have we muddled through?
It is more of
So
that.
things are worse, but we've muddled through.
Can I?
What a
can
strategy, everyone.
Can I?
It's not a
can
strategy.
I say something?
It's a statement of
Can
how
I-
things will work out.
Okay.
Can I say
We're
something
human
in,
and we're
in
made.
like
Good luck with that.
halfway between Josh and Mike? So when
It's
we
compromise. That works.
when we kind of muddle through, let's say climate change.
Let's
Yeah.
just shoot all the billionaires.
Yeah.
So
but
1.5 degrees, not in 5 years,
No, no.
but in 10 years maybe.
fine. Fuck that.
Yeah. No, but that's what compromise is.
Let me speak. Let me speak.
It's a me, Louise.
Oh, I'm sorry, you're not supposed to speak over people.
Oh, come on, guys.
Who
we've had a
is
few-
Pope?
We've all had a few
Pope, not
wines.
the House of
We've all
Parliament.
had a
Where's
few
my
wines.
wine?
Come
Some
on.
of us
No,
haven't.
but
It depends how
Stone
much
cold
we,
sober.
right.
It depends how seriously we're taking our ability, doesn't
We
it?
all take it
Right,
seriously,
right,
mate.
right.
Otherwise we wouldn't be sitting
But
in a pub talking about
Who
this.
is currently doing the most capacity increase, let's say, of renewable energy in the world every year?
China. By a mile.
Yeah, who?
China.
China. That's it.
By a fucking...
Now.
Oh my god,
They are far ahead, right?
they are like light years ahead. And when
Right.
I hear people in Britain go, well, China haven't done anything, I'm like,
Right.
oh!
So do
So
we not need to do, we don't
no,
need to do
no,
anything
no,
on
no,
climate?
No.
We don't need to do anything on climate.
No.
Right.
Don't use that as an excuse not to.
So just.
So we don't need to do anything because
No,
we're
so
less than
just
2%.
No,
pause.
Josh.
We're less than
don't-
2% of output.
Josh,
No.
pause. So
Yeah,
China is doing the most on
I love
climate.
that I'm the mad one.
Josh,
You're not the mad one.
You're the angry
You're
one.
being a
I don't understand what you're
China
angry at.
is doing China is doing the
Show
most
your
on
tits
climate
now.
right now. Yeah. Now, 10 years ago, did we think that China would be doing the most on climate?
Yes, because they started converting all their chip factories to solar panel factories. And no one paid attention to that, but they saw Taiwan doing it.
Well,
They
Josh
saw
clearly
Taiwan-
bought all the shares.
Josh,
and all
you
the-
just said it.
Come on.
Yeah.
Pranay said, did everyone think that? And you
No,
went,
he said, did anyone think it?
anyone? And you're like,
And
yeah,
I
two
said,
people
yes,
did.
some people were paying fucking
Some
attention.
tiny.
Yeah, but it was
Yeah.
Apple. It was Apple
Right.
that
No,
did that.
it was-
There's a new
Right.
book
It
out at the
was.
moment that
But
proves
the
that
fact
Apple
is-
are the one that have introduced that. They've
So
invested in
Apple
all the
transformed
machinery.
Chinese factories
Just
into
just
solar panel factories.
just to
Kareem
stop.
has to catch up on his
I've got a
time.
couple of
Wow,
super chats
I would
that come
love,
in.
I would love
Uh,
that.
thank you
People
very
love
much.
your fights.
No,
Thank
the
you.
chips. You were talking about the chips in Taiwan.
Thank you very much, Veg Pie, for the £5 super chat. Some things are getting better. My mate, who's 68, just rang. She's one of these poor women who have had their baby taken away by nuns when she was young.
What the
Sad.
fuck?
That
What?
doesn't happen anymore. Okay?
That's good.
The Madeline sisters.
No.
These were stories that we heard.
You have to explain
the-
this to me later because I don't understand how this is
It-
happening. or
there
can
were-
happen.
there-
Catholicism, mate.
In Ireland and in some parts of the UK, when women who were not married, who got
Right.
pregnant,
Got sent
went
to
to
nunneries,
the
basically.
So
went to the
Ireland is
convent.
So Ireland is
Majority
Catholic, right?
Catholic,
They
yeah.
did.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they took the babies off them and they sold them to Americans, to rich Americans.
It was
also.
essentially a
So-
precursor to
them-
the Handmaid's
they sold
Tale, and there was
the
a
baby.
BBC series about it.
Wait,
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
they
In
sold
the early
babies
2000s.
to
Yeah, for a profit.
Yeah.
shit.
And they took the baby off the.
And these people are, well, these people consider themselves now Irish Americans. Is that?
I'm invading you.
No, they don't know. They don't know
Oh,
that
they
their
don't
mother
know.
was Irish or British.
So they
Yeah,
just
I
went
think
into
we
some
really
family
think we
like
should.
Yeah.
Yeah.
God.
So
Me
some
too.
some things are getting better. We're gonna wrap
the
up
world
Yeah.
is fucked
in a
up,
moment.
man.
Ruth
You're
Guthrie.
half right.
Not if we
Thank
don't
you
want it
very
to be,
much.
and that's the
Josh,
actual
Josh,
point.
calm down.
got
Someone was talking
Your,
to me.
your government does not serve you, England. Go for independence and let us work together as independent countries and leave our North Sea oil alone. Thank you very much, Ruth.
The Labour
And on
Party,
that,
the
I
Labour
think
Party
we're gonna leave
have
it. Yeah.
English devolution in their manifesto, and it was in the King's Speech. So we should push for that. If that sentiment actually is to be realised,
Well,
we should
well,
push for English
we will
devolution.
see. We will see. My point, Josh, was just that we are messy. Humans are messy.
Well, on
we
that point
fuck up.
about how
I
was responding to that comment.
We make mistakes and we do wrong things and we do some right things, and our politics reflects who we are as humans.
Yeah.
We fuck up.
Yeah.
Our politics fucks up. Our democracy fucks up because it is the ruled by the people, and people aren't perfect. And to go tell me the answer to this problem that we're having, or all the problems we're having, I don't think is fair, because I think there are lots of different answers coming from different avenues, and what we need to do is open up a pluralistic way of talking to people who are from different countries, different cultures, different sexualities, different genders. I mean, we're here to 4 blokes and 1 woman. Yes, well done for gender equality. Thanks.
I hope you enjoyed the 4
on.
sentences that I managed to get in this evening.
So I agree with all that, Graham. And the point
We
about
need to hear the stories of everyone.
Finishing
And at
a
the
sentence.
moment, we only hear the stories of the super rich.
Yeah.
And with that, you pass to Josh.
Yeah. Sorry, I was just finishing up.
No, the point is about realising that, making it a real thing,
Yes.
right? So not just kind of like giving it the superficial, we should work together stuff, right? But actually working out ways to do that,
Yeah.
No,
right?
that's a good point.
And that's my point.
Yes.
Yeah.
We won't just work it out.
No,
That has not happened.
none of us have said that though.
No.
That's not true.
No, I did
But,
say
like-
it. I did say it. And in 100 years' time, we'll
It's-
look back
and-
and go,
and-
well,
and
we
not-
modelled
and
through
not
that
to single
shit.
you out,
But
and
what
not
we
to end on
didn't
this, and not to single you out, not to
didn't
end on
do
this,
was
but
commit
it is the
genocide
general
on
thing.
billionaires.
It's the general thing that people say.
Josh, bless you.
Well, I'd like to finish a fucking sentence.
Well,
You've had a few.
to be
mate.
fair,
Not one that
to be
hasn't been
fair-
interrupted.
to be fair, Josh is a great guy
Oh, thanks for the.
who if you don't know what he does, then you should follow him on Blue
None of
Sky,
that's. None
and
of that.
you will find out
No,
what he does.
that's a very superficial.
No,
kind
it's
of-
not superficial.
Of course it is.
Oh well, okay, well, fine. Kick
All
me
right.
then.
Well, then. Yeah, well.
I'm just trying to say that there are
Yeah.
things that you.
I'm on
say.
Instagram as well. I'm on Instagram too.
Anyway, and definitely do not follow
Anyway,
me.
we got
nowhere.
a super chat from Dark 4x4 who's always
Thank you.
random. I'm sure you can run a Geneva drive fast gun cotton though. Thank you so much, Dark 4x4, for that utter randomness. We love you. Thank you. And then we're going to end up with Darian DeStar. Thank you. And
Thank you.
And where are we here? Oh, we got a super chat. This is a contribution towards buying kebabs on the way home. And since most of us,
I'm vegan.
we've not
I'm
had,
vegan.
though we can have a falafel.
I can
I
have
love
falafel.
falafel.
I
love
can have
falafel.
falafel wrap. Yes.
Love
But some of us haven't eaten.
No, I have not eaten.
I know. We're not
I am.
had-
The
we're
last
not
time
had-
I ate was
we're not
4
had
o'clock.
dinner yet. So
It's been like 8 hours since I had
Yeah.
food. So.
And then we've got
Yeah.
SG here. Earth provides
God.
enough to satisfy every man's needs, but not every man's greed. Thank you so much for the super chat. And it was a quote from Mahatma Gandhi.
I just love your
Very
audience.
good.
This is amazing.
Yeah, they're awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you so much to everyone who's come with us to the pub tonight.
Who is this person who just got off work and just joined our chat?
That's Ori.
Wow.
Ori.
Thank you.
Hi, Ori.
Thank you.
Oh, he's a Tory.
No, Ori.
No,
Ori.
Ori.
You like Ori.
Darian says
him.
Josh is also sexy. So, John, you've got a bit of
If
a...
that's the one attribute I end this with, then, fine, I guess.
He's
Josh
not
is
happy
sexy.
about it.
I don't have an
he's so
OnlyFans.
unhappy.
I don't have an OnlyFans, but I'm sure someone will talk over me trying to put photos of my feet on.
I don't want to imagine his OnlyFans.
Photos of your feet? Lovely.
What? Anyway, moving on.
Moving on. All right, we've got one more from Benice Rose. Thank you. Trans rights are human rights. Absolutely. Thank you. And hugs.
Agree.
Love you all. Thank you very much
Thank
to Benice Rose. And we've got to leave the pub. We're getting told by the people who own the pub that we've got to get out of here.
Yeah.
So thank you so much for watching. And until next time, we'll say hello, good evening, welcome, and goodbye.
Thanks.
Bye.
Fucking hell.